And what is up? Welcome back to another Friday night here with the Average Boys podcast. It's your boy ChrisP, and I'm here with my boy Brian. Brian, what is up, my dude?
My man, Chris, what's going on, buddy? How's everything
Yeah,
going?
it's been a good week, man. It's been a hell of a week. We had a really cool convention last week, which I got to produce and push on the show here on the podcast. We got to show a
Fuck
bunch of
yeah.
videos. We did it live here, and we did it on the Harlingen Fan Convention. The overall convention was an overall success. We got a lot of compliments for the way that we handled our business, and a lot of people liked our shit, man. What's crazy is like I didn't get like a lot of like pictures and stuff, but the
Oh,
overall experience was something that I really want to be able to cherish and talk about. So, yeah, but other than that, I mean, coming back to reality, we have our problems and stuff like that. We have, the dog problem in our neighborhood. Like one of our cats got out. We have a house cat and it got out and hasn't been back home yet. So,
oh wow.
we're kind of like, damn, dude, like maybe our cat's gone.
Mm.
Um, yeah, literally everything else is just chill. Warzone. Warzone still sucks. Playing it a lot. It's still a bunch of cheaters. Um, I'm excited because Battlefield 2042
It's
just
coming.
dropped. Yeah, just
Yeah, yeah.
dropped. If you have the special, if you bought the $100 pass and all that stuff, early release, 7 days. I got the
Mhm.
standard because I'm standard. I'm an average guy, so so I got the regular one. So I got to wait 6 days, but I still got it. I'm really excited. I'm a big Battlefield fan. I'm ready for it to come out. I can't wait to delete Warzone and fucking Call of Duty and just be rid of that franchise for a bit
Have you
because
tried
it
Vanguard yet?
no, but I heard some good stuff about it. I heard some
Okay.
really good stuff. But what kind of upset me was they released the zombies for Vanguard, but they were like,
Mhm.
no, we're not gonna release the Easter egg until after 2022 or like until we
Okay.
go into the new year. And I'm kind of like,
Fuck it.
well,
Yeah.
then why promote it like the way you did? What's up, Robert? How you doing, man? My dude. Hope you're doing well.
You.
Hope you're
What up,
doing
Rob?
well. Thanks for giving us the heads up. Everybody else out there in Twitch and on YouTube, thank you guys for jumping in with us here on the Average Boys podcast. We got some interesting stuff that we're going to be talking about today.
Hell yeah.
But on a side note, how about you, Brian? How's everything going over there in Jersey?
Everything's great, dude. Like I said, I moved into the new place. If you guys noticed, got a new room. It's gonna be my recording room. So bear with me. I know it's a little bare area back there,
Mm.
but trust me, it's gonna get lit real soon. But other than that, new job, busy. My other podcast, got the Gym Class Majors podcast. I actually just
Yeah, yeah.
recorded today with D. We were kind of a little bit backed up. So we got a recording in today, which is lit. So if you guys, get a chance, check out that Gym Class Majors podcast. And other than
Are you
that,
guys still
man,
hitting up the like the pre-recordings and stuff?
yeah, so as of right now, we're still doing the pre-recordings, and what we're gonna do is we're going to, instead of having every podcast live, we're gonna, like, once a month we'll have
That's perfect.
a
That's
live
perfect.
podcast, so that people, it'll create some anticipation, people can react, and trust me, we get into a lot of toxic shit on there, so I'm 100% guaranteed that if people get a shot to see us live, they're gonna light us up. So we'll give that to the fans. We'll give that to the people. I don't read comments, so that'll be our way of giving back and letting them get a chance to come tear us down for a little
So
bit.
like on the gym class on the gym class majors, like do you guys cover some really like dicey shit or what?
We cover everything, man. Like today, for instance, we covered the Travis Scott concert.
Oh no,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we had some unfavorable takes on it. So yeah, so instead of, when we cover things like that, instead of us just commenting to the comments, we'll actually be live, and you guys can voice your opinions and your disgruntled thoughts on
What might
things
be
like that.
something that you would consider like the dicey stuff? Like what's something that
So
might have been said that you're like, oh,
so like
maybe
today, so like
unpopular?
today, so like today, the Travis Scott interview, I'm sorry, the Travis Scott concert was pretty dicey. Me and D are really good at towing the line of, keeping our opinions but still being respectful to the
Mhm.
other side as well. The Dave Chappelle thing was very dicey, but for the most part, what we like to do is we like to talk about our own experiences
Mhm.
and the way that our fucked up brains, just
Yeah, kind of like go into it and shit.
you break things down. So that in itself is kind of dicey, and I think the more that we do it, the better that we get acclimated to, just the talking part of the whatever it is we're talking about, that we'll be able to dive a little bit more into other topics. And
Yeah, speaking of that Travis Scott situation, that was a man.
and
It's
you're
very
closer to
weird.
it than us, yeah.
It's very weird because like I'm a 40-year-old dude, and
Hmm.
I've been to like a handful of concerts, like a bunch of I'm talking like Tattoo the Earth, Family Values Tour 2001. I've
Hmm.
been to like every Slipknot concert that was like here to San Antonio, like, and it's very weird the way that it was handled. It was just I just, but then there's a part of me that's like in that type of topic. I think like the world star mentality is more prominent than the let me help someone mentality.
Hmm.
You know, like people will bring out their phones and videotape rather than help. But I know that it's mixed because there is like documentation and video of the crowd
I was
needing
gonna
to be
say,
involved.
like in this instance, I agree with you 1000%. But in this case, it kind of helped. It was kind of an advocate because now you have documentation of exactly what the fuck was going
What
on.
was going
It's
on?
not hearsay. It's not myth. You actually have
Yeah, it's
documentation.
hard for people to just make shit up because like there's
Yeah,
so much
it's there.
footage
Footage.
or
Yeah.
like things that are going on. My biggest thing is like I kind of don't know why the crowd just didn't pull through. Like that abundance of people that wanted to help. Like why didn't they like, you know, cuz like when we're in concerts and like there's a mosh pit, like
Hmm.
there's a certain point that everyone spreads and creates a huge gap in the middle and then fucking slams into each other.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there and it's a very weird way it sets up, but there's just like a camaraderie that meets that you're like boom and then everybody,
So
and I'm talking like almost like a fucking like what was that game that we used to play where we always used to hold hands and come over here and cut through the rope
okay.
kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was
So
like that moment where like you just everybody knew to create that large gap and then slam into each other.
anytime I've ever watched a mosh pit is organized. It's an organized
There's
chaos.
something about it's chaotic
Yeah,
organization, right?
it's
Because
it's
like
it's
there's
it's
something about it that is
organized.
like it's
Yeah,
wild, but there is like some kind of respect to it.
yeah.
So like yeah, it's like people that choose to be on the outside of the pit, they stay and they create that wall that everyone else dances in the middle of. You don't just go and
Mhm.
hit people that are just standing still. You know what I mean? Like yeah, sometimes people get tagged or whatever, but it's not intended. You know what I mean?
And not only that, but this wasn't even really a mosh pit. I know that at Travis Scott concerts, there are mosh pits, but
Yeah, of course.
this wasn't even really a mosh pit. It was just for some 50. It was thousands and thousands of people rushing to get as close as they possibly
It's so
could
weird, man.
to the stage, and that created the mayhem that ensued, and
Yeah.
it just didn't it's basically just an unfortunate event that everyone that had to do with is going to have to pay for, and that's just the reality of the
So
situation.
we're looking at, I believe it was 9 people that lost their lives
As of
as of
yesterday,
right now.
as of yesterday, it's nine people. A young lady fought for about a week, and then she passed away. And then there's
Oh man, that's
still
horrible.
the 9-year-old that's on life support. That
9-year-old. God
It
damn.
was a 9-year-old. So
That's
that
the
was
youngest
another.
because I heard of I heard the 14-year-old.
It was a 15-year-old. So it ranged from 15 to 27, which is what I read. And the 9-year-old who's still fighting for his life, he's on ICU, yeah, and they don't think he's gonna make it.
Now,
So
why is it that these
he,
people that are suffering from all this stuff is on ICU when it was just told that it was like dehydration?
and that was another thing that we brought up, is that in the initial reports, there were just a lot of things that came out that just weren't true. Like, we heard that there was dehydration, we heard that there were bad drugs laced with fentanyl, we heard that there was a crazy guy running around with a
With
syringe
a syringe or something.
stabbing people. All of that has come out to be false.
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna say like I heard about the syringe one, but if this guy's going around poking people with the same needle, there's a big idea of like contagiousness, and then of course like the idea of like spreading like an HIV or an AIDS or something because of the blood mixing and transfusions, right?
yeah.
So
So
you would assume that it would be like in the middle of this, people would say like, oh, and there was an HIV outbreak because there was a guy poking someone with the same needle. Unless this guy is like super respectful, has a big box of needles, and he's literally throwing each needle away after he's done using it, which
very
you know would
considerate.
bring some concern up to a guy with a bunch of needles in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that's what it is. Maybe someone just passing around some bad shit.
Yeah, the whole
right?
situation is completely insane.
It's confusing.
From the false reports earlier, when this broke out, to the backlash to people claiming his satanic
The
worship
satanic
had
symbolism and
something
cult.
to do with this. That has nothing to do with 8 people dying in a
I
crowd
mean,
surge.
I get it. There's a lot of people who are spiritual in my culture down here in the valley. Like a lot of people are like very culturish towards like the black magic, curandera work, all that stuff, like the Mexican bad stuff, right?
Mhm.
So the idea of it, if I was to show like my grandparents or my parents, they would probably assume it was like some evil shit going on. But the
Yeah, but
reality of it is there still has to be some correlation of like reality, not just spiritualism that's going to do
exactly.
this shit. Yeah. So,
Exactly. That kind
so
of that kind of took me out. And originally, earlier in the week, I had a take on it that was kind of defending Travis Scott. But then, after more has come out, I can't really defend him. I can't defend anybody that
even
has
watching his like apology video was just
that
sad
was
as shit,
bullshit.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
fucking
that was
pathetic.
bullshit. That was bullshit. Like,
For the people that lost their lives, I mean, we all, of course,
my
we keep
condolences.
y'all in our prayers. And nobody
Absolutely.
ever, I mean, you're all babies, man. And, it's a sad thing to hear. You're all
Yeah.
babies in our eyes and you're all children and you guys deserve better. And, to the families out there, we hope, prayers and healing.
Absolutely.
That's all we can say. So
That's what you could say.
it was a bad situation, but yeah, we'll move past that. I don't want to get bummed out,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So this past week we had a really good turnout with Harlingen Fan Fest for our Harlingen Fan Convention.
Mm.
Now there's two conventions that are in the Harlingen area. There was Harlingen Fan Fest, which happened a couple of weeks ago, and then Harlingen Fan Convention, which is run by some really great people. Now there is some kind of animosity towards these two groups because they used to be connected, and
No
there was
shit.
someone who kind of screwed them over. So when they made Harlingen Fan Convention, it was them trying to prove that they're going to do a better show and that they were the ones that were behind putting up together a great show. And out
Mm.
of the situation that happened in both conventions, you could tell who put the better show on. You could tell who are the people with the experience.
Do you want to elaborate on that, or you want to just
I mean, I don't want to mention any names,
okay?
right? But of course, one person I will mention is of course Pete Martinez. He comes in the comment section, restore the
Mhm.
Snyderverse.
The
He's a good friend of mine. He's always been a supporter of the show. He is the man behind Harlingen Fan Convention. Well, he used to be partnered up with some other people, and they screwed him over pretty bad. Like they
Oof.
just screwed him over, and this was his way of saying, you know what, like I still love what I do. The Harlingen Fan Convention scene is something that I want to grow, and I want to put some work into it. So Pete went off and did his best, found his own sponsors, found his own, guests, and did all this stuff. And he put a really, really fantastic show together. Now, with that, he reached out to us because, of course, we have a good reach. We talk comics and we talk all this stuff. And of course, I brought him on the show for production and, to help, spread the word and get people to go to the convention.
Mhm.
But at the other time, too, I always have ideas when it comes to running stuff, like how I think it would be more of how can we make things better? What can be the next idea? I'm
Of
always
course.
trying to do like the graphics designer thing where you got a door and it's got a push button, but how can we make that cooler?
Yeah.
What's the next evolutionary step? And we created this really good system for the convention that we could use the guests and bring everybody and get everybody involved. And it was a first opportunity. We used our podcast equipment and we used the Wi-Fi from the convention center,
Mm.
and we were able to create a mobile podcasting unit and then set up all our live feed there and create a live feed using the program that we use here. And we were able to reach, I think in one night, some of the videos were reaching up to like 600 and 900 views.
Nice.
So we really were able to. So traditionally, when you go to a convention, there's always like a panel for Q&A, right? There's always just panels.
Mhm.
Like you get there, that's a big old room, usually about 100 to 400 people sitting in the crowd, and you have your either one guest or four guests all on stage. But my biggest thing was there's no interaction unless you stand up to ask a question.
Okay.
Here on our format with the podcast, anyone that's sitting at home watching can leave a comment. And
Mm.
there's an 80 to 90% chance that everyone that's on the podcast show is going to see that comment. In fact, there's 100% opportunity for you to just have your comments seen by peers in your area.
Yeah.
Where if you were at a convention, if you chose to sit down and not stand up, your voice would never be heard. What we're doing was we're closing the gap between the audience member and the guest by bringing them closer together.
Mm.
So in that, of course, you only get that small gap for the Q&A, where while the conversation is at hand, you can automatically leave your question when you think about it. And then, of course, the people scrolling through will see your comments and they'll choose the comments that they think are best appropriate for the situation. Now, we had some really cool guests. We had David Soboloff. We had John Wesley Shipp. We had, Ray Fisher. Now, Ray Fisher was very particular about the questions that we needed to be asking. You know, he was very particular on the things that he would not answer and question and stuff like that, because it's an ongoing case with like the DC universe and his character and the possibility of him being let go. And even if they continue with some version of the Snyder cut, like that, they're going to replace him for another person.
Mm-hmm.
So the questions that had to be asked, or the questions that kind of ensued, were like, okay, how can I ask these questions but not directly be associated with DC?
Mm-hmm.
Where the questions then would be to David Soboloff and also to John Wesley. How can I get them to answer the question and they're still working with DC? So the pod with David, John, and Ray was awesome. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I was nervous as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
The reason why I was nervous is because John Wesley Shipp is like a father figure to me and my brother when we were growing up. We grew up like on the ranches. So like that first iteration of a comic book hero was someone that we like gravitated to like so fast in the 90s with his Flash version. So it was very cool. And then not only that, I got to ask him my question, man, my Silver Age question, which is the question of, do you believe we've passed this Silver Age of comics and everything has to be vulgar and, you know, perverted and grotesque for the heroes to be more relatable, or does the old formula work? And it was a very interesting answer, man. Ray Fisher likes the newer stuff, where John Wesley is like, well, my character, like, he's all about the old school ways because he's from the 1950s. So it's that bing, bang, pow. He practically created it. You know what I mean? And then, of course, David Soboloff is kind of like, he's more into the character development, but he's not into it being where it's relatable. But if it's like a tragedy, like, so like even when he's playing Gorilla Grodd in the CW show, like he wants you to feel his voice. Like,
what's your take on that? What is your answer? Like, let me ask you the same question. Like, what do you think? As
I think it's particularly important that we protect the hero that we looked up to when we were growing up.
Okay.
Because the hero now being relatable is great, but it's not an escape. It's just a mending of, oh, okay, well, he's going through it, so it's okay for me to do it. And the thing is we need those heroes. We really do, because the idea of creating good men and good women in the world that have good hearts, they need more role models. And sometimes looking up to Neil Tyson deGrasse or Elon Musk or, you know, Bill Gates or whoever it is, you know, those people that we want to look up to because we're associating them as heroes because they're in the limelight. I don't think we have enough heroes like that nowadays.
But how are you supposed to look up to these people or to these characters if they are, in your words, based on an escape? Like, how do you connect with?
Well, it's the same process as to what Superman stood up for. Hope. It's hope. Okay. That's literally what it is. You know, you look at Batman, he's justice.
Okay.
You look at Wonder Woman, she's equality. Like, everyone has their symbol that they stand for. And relatability is great. And we talk about that all the time. We talk about the idea of having someone that is out there that, you know, represents us. But which hero do you gravitate more to? Who do you gravitate to them because they look like us? Or do you gravitate towards them because of their attributes and their life goals and everything, their trials and tribulations that they've, you know, passed through and stood on the foreground and stood up and stood tall? Like, you know what I mean? Like, It's a really interesting concept when you break down the idea of what the hero should be compared to what the hero is.
I think that's a very interesting topic that you or question that you asked. I mean, I never thought of it. I never thought about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I have 1,001 things running through my head. But before we even get into that, I wanted to piggyback off of Jeremy, dude. I just want to give you your flowers. I don't know how many people have told you thus far, but just on camera in front of everybody, and I told you behind the scenes as well. But you did an amazing job. I am super proud of you. I couldn't be more happier for you. It didn't honestly. I could not have picked a better podcast to be a part of, to be displayed in that manner. That was awesome, dude.
Thank you,
And
brother. Thank you,
that,
man. It means a lot, man,
and
because
you've been
like I said,
killing it.
like I was nervous, man. You know what I mean? Like there was a part of me that was like, you could feel that vibe of like, oh man, dude, like I have a lot of people that, they're counting on me.
Yeah.
They're counting on me to do a good job. And that's literally the only thing I wanted to do. And at the same time, bring a service and opportunity and still stick to the theme of the show, which is to be able to humanize those that are on our show, that anybody can relate to them, to ask the questions and to say like, okay, cool. Like there's let me see, what's her name? Stephanie Panicello, who plays Claire Redfield in Resident Evil 2. Look, she's right there, but does she suffer from anxiety like I do? And then for her to be like, oh, dude, fuck yeah, I do. Like for her to break character and not be like, yes, I do. Script tells me to act nice. And for them to just carry on, laugh, and have a good time. I've always wanted it to feel where our guests, celebrity or not, our audience feels like we're just at a barbecue and we're listening to like our uncles and our dad talk about their crazy stories back in the day. And we're just enthralled by it. That's kind of like the idea that I've always wanted to create with the podcast. And I feel like we're still on that journey and it feels super fantastic.
Well, it's things like this, is conventions like this, and it's like the Q&As like this that are pushing this podcast leaps and bounds, dude. So again, my hats off to you. You did an amazing job, and I'm inspired, to be honest with you. I'm inspired.
What's really cool is like some of like we had Jonathan Lipnicki, right? Which is the kid from Jerry Maguire, Stuart Little, all that stuff. Well, he happens to be a black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu, trains Muay Thai kickboxing. Like we had like a real big dude conversation. Like we talk like just, the MMA world. And he was like, dude, your podcast, like you guys are super cool. Like if you ever need anything, like hit me up, man. I'll come on your show. Like it's so cool that we're able to create this connection with some people that it doesn't take, talk to my manager or how much you gonna give me.
Yeah.
It doesn't need that, where people just want to come out. What's up, Gus? Good to see you, my boy. Gus is one of my old working partners, man. Good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing good. He had a surgery a while back. I think he had like a hernia or something like that. But good to see that you're walking around doing good stuff, boy. But yeah, Jonathan Lipnicki was a really, really cool dude. And he was like, yo, man, let me know and I'll come on the show. And I met some other cool people too. We had some authors, some local authors and some artists, and just overall, it was just a good opportunity for us, man. Of course, there were some guests that I myself wasn't all that familiar with a lot of their works.
Okay.
And it was okay because like at the very beginning, I was like, well, yes, I do know of your work, but I was aged out of that show at the time. But tell me about it, because there's more opportunity to talk, because, like with my three female actresses, there's always talks about how, in the industry, there's not enough proper representation for females. And here you have three strong female characters. One of them plays the god of this Dragon Ball Supers universe and is in Genshin Impact, which is one of the fastest growing MMORPGs in the market right now. Another one literally plays the toughest female in most animes, if not the coolest, like Disney Nickelodeon anime, The Last Avatar, The Last Airbender. She plays Toph, which is the blind girl that beats the shit out of everybody. She's the tank in the team. She's the Hulk. And then, of course, you have Stephanie Panicello, who plays Resident Evil Claire in the the revamp that they just did of Resident Evil 2, and she did the mocap work for it. And not only that, most of these people have started their own social commentary and social podcasting stuff. Like you had Catherine Sutherland and Nakia Burris, the Power Ranger ladies. They have their own podcast on YouTube, and it's like 16.9 thousand people strong.
Dope.
And they got to do their live stream while we were doing our Q&A. So we came out on their podcast also, which was super dope, man. It was super nice for her to even do that, because that gives us, of course, some type of advertisement or some type of push, you know, and brings people to the acknowledgement that we're, you know, a show online. And it was just super nice. Everyone was courteous. They gave us, look, it's super crazy, because if you go to each one of the podcasts, they only gave us 25 minutes with all the guests. And every one of them is like 30 to 40 minutes long.
Nice.
Because the guests were the ones that didn't want to leave. They were the ones that were like, dude, we're cool. Like, nah, man, we're all right. Like, and all the managers just like,
wrap it up.
Come on, man. We got to go. Like, no, it was overall, it was a good thing. It was fun. We had a great time. It was a good experiment.
That's what matters the most. Did you have fun doing it, dude?
And yeah, we had a hell of a time, and the opportunity still stays there. We're offering this to any other convention in the area that wants to come and try this, to host this, to have a podcast be there. You know, it was a fantastic opportunity. We did very well for Harlingen Fan Convention, which, of course, Pete knows the next time we're going to be out there with him again. You know, it's just what we're going to be doing and helping him out. Hopefully by that time next year, we get you down here, Brian. You come with us for that weekend, man. That'll be cool, no?
All right. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, that'd be super cool, man. But yeah, overall, that was a pretty cool thing. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. So if you guys got an opportunity on our YouTube channel, which if you're watching right now on YouTube, if you go through the sections on the bottom, you'll see that there's 4 videos up of all our guests and stuff. Guys, if you can, you know, put it out there, like it, share it, you know, help us out, especially on YouTube. I want to if we can get up to 100 subscribers in YouTube, I could change the link to the Average Boys podcast, rather than it just be a bunch of random numbers and I just have to embed the link on my Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when I share it, it would be nice just to have it as the Average Boys podcast, rather than it be like a bunch of like random stuff. But it's just wishful thinking. But you know, it's just one of those things. Like it's growth of the podcast, and that's super important. As a matter of fact, something crazy. So of course, with Harlingen Fan Convention, and that everybody noticed that we had a commercial for them, and that we were kind of promoting the advertisement of that. Well, it's because Pete, thank you, Pete, so much, was a sponsor, and he was sponsoring the podcast, and he was really hooking us up, and you know, we were looking out for him, and we wanted to make him look, you know, prosperous. Well, I got approached from our work with Harlingen Fan Convention by another sponsor.
Get out.
Yeah, and it's really, really cool, man. It's a really interesting conversation. It's a company that sells, it's a Texas-made company, and they make CBD here in Texas. Now, we know that CBD is legal to a certain aspect of THC in it, right? Which is the compound that's found in like marijuana and stuff like that. So that's why in the state of Texas, the legalization of marijuana is still illegal. Like Colorado, I think New York, it's legal in New York, right? Is marijuana legal there?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So then in California, of course, marijuana is legal, and then other cities and states around the country, but still in the state of Texas, it's not. But recently, I would say
weird. Like you guys are so progressive in some things, and then just
it's a really weird, right? Like it's really weird that Texas is like no marijuana, no marijuana. The devil's lettuce not invited here. Not invited here. Well, a company hit me up. They're from Texas. Actually, the website is called www.eatmetexas.com. Now, what's really cool about these guys is that just recently they passed a bill here in Texas that legalizes the use of this chemical known as Delta 8 and Delta 9. Now, those two chemicals combined and found in hemp still make you have the stuff that regular marijuana does. So like it gets you high if taken in large doses. I'm not talking like crazy doses. Now, Now I'm gonna show you guys something. I made a cool little video. I'm gonna add it to the stream. I'm gonna let it play.
Show that shit.
So this is the product that they sell, and this is the company available. If you guys want to, go check out the website. So these cubes are, you know, fairly about a little bit smaller than an inch and an inch. The flavor's good. We had the rainbow one, and they have a lemon flavor, peach, mango, apple. They have a bunch of great flavors. But I took one of these and it crashed me out, dude. Like it knocked me out. Now this is cool because it helps you with inflammation if you're an athlete, like we're showing on the thing. If you want to relax, if you suffer from anxiety, if you have hunger problems, insomnia, it really does help. Now I have a lot of sleeping problems. I have a horrible amount of sleeping problems.
As do I.
But like straight up, this product, like I was not expecting what transpired from me taking it. Because I've taken, like, I have like tinctures and CBDs like all over the place. And the reason why I take it is because I was diagnosed with gout like 5 years ago. So I was taking a drug that was called prednisone, and prednisone is like this super popular drug that they give to people that have gout, but it's been in use for a long time. But it's a very strong steroid for inflammation. But it has it has an annoying amount of side effects, like 30 or 40 side effects that can happen from this.
Jesus.
Like if you take it and then fall off of it without trickling off of it, like going by the smaller doses, like you can get ulcers, or you can get like gallbladder stones, or like it's got a bunch of random shit. But one of the things that I was suffering from when I took it is I was having a lot of negative thoughts, and I was even having some suicidal thoughts. And it was really like messing with me on an emotional, like on an emotional level. I remember this one time that it was like the first couple of days that I was dealing with gout. I did what everybody did: Google WebMD and you know, self medicate myself and tell myself it's cancer, or I don't know what WebMD always tells you, it's either a flu or cancer.
Yeah.
It's like there's no other middle grounds. You can't have any other disease except that or that. Like, but I was looking at it, and it was talking about just like changing my diet up, you know, the things that you can and can't eat. And, you know, it's pretty cynical when it comes to the gout, but it's doable in the sense of thinking like an athlete. Because, you know, I teach mixed martial arts. I've, you know, competed before in track and field and, you know, sparring and all this stuff, making weight and doing this stuff when I was younger. It's one of those things that it's not an untangible goal. A little bit harder because I'm older, but nonetheless, you can still reach it. But the thing that was messing me up was the idea of suicide. And it was directly coming from the medication I was taking. My dad came into the room, and I was doing some research, and he's like, well, you're getting to that age, man, where your body's just going to, you know, you'll get ailments and, you know, dandruff and shit like that. Like just things that happen that are hereditary. And if I broke down, dude, like right in front of him, like, but for no reason. Because I knew what I was reading and educating myself on. And it's one of those things that it really like caught me. And at that moment, there was like a small little like voice in the back of my head that was telling me like, this isn't you. Like, this isn't you. You need to snap out of it. So I dropped the medication. I took 4 days. I just stopped taking it. Like, just straight up, I was done.
Cold turkey. You were just,
and I was like, holistically, I need to figure out something else. So I started looking into the CBD and THC and all that stuff because it helps with inflammation. It helps with like, you know, inflammation of the joints and things like that. So like the arthritis and fibromyalgia and things like that, it helps with a lot of the things like that. So it was the first thing that I looked at. But of course, in the state of Texas, THC is not allowed. So CBD was the biggest thing, hemp. But the problem with it is like, it's just as expensive, if not more, in places where it's not legal. So the CBD, when you buy it, was literally the same price as buying marijuana.
Yeah.
And then in fact, if I was to go to like just some street vendor, like just some street pharmacist, the dude would probably sell me bud cheaper if I went for it. Now the thing is like we were talking about off camera. I'm straight edge, dude. Like I've never done that throughout high school, college, drinking in college, yes, but never did I ever do like anything else. it wasn't until after I got my gout that I started doing CBD. And I was talking to some of my students who are normal users of the regular marijuana plant. And they were like, look, coach, there's really nothing that's different except it does this to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I still feel a little scared, but we were at one of our fights for one of my students, and they were like, look, coach, we have a little bit. If you want to take some, we'll take care of you. Like, nothing will happen, you know. And in my mind, there wasn't like a real necessity to want to try it, but my students bleed for me on an everyday basis. They believe 100% what I say as like gold in their life. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so for me to deny them the opportunity to say that they would keep me safe, I took it to heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Like, I trust you guys. And if anything, this is going to be an experiment because I already suffer from this. If it makes me hungry, it's better than suicide.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like on a scale, what would you prefer? Would you prefer to want to feel like you want to kill yourself, or would you just want to eat something?
Just get the munchies. Yeah.
Easy fucking easy stuff. So I tried it, and there was a lot of euphoric feeling in the vibe of taking it. Mm-hmm. There were some very awkward vibes, which is I kept having like a memory relapse of what I was doing. Now, I think that was because of, since my desire was to try it, since it didn't hit me the way I assumed, I consumed more. Gotcha. So I didn't respect it first. And I think that's the biggest problem that can happen from these type of situations.
Huge thing.
So the vibe that I got when I tried the THC stuff, I actually got the same vibe from the CBD hemp one. And it blew my mind, because the fact that now they are selling CBD gummies with Delta 8 and Delta 9, which are the cannabinoid psychedelic drug that makes you kind of trip out. Mm-hmm. But it's not like it's not illegal. Now they have, I guess technically it would be considered, it was a loophole, but now that it's a bill that's passed that it can be used, like, it's not a loophole. Mm-hmm. It's just legal, but it's not marijuana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was interesting. So our sponsor reached out to us and was like, hey, look, is this something that you guys would be interested in talking about? And I was like, yeah, because I deal with a medical condition. It's not something I'm going to die from. I'm not going to die of gout. Mm-hmm. But when your thumb, when your bunion toe, the big toe, feels like it's going to break, like it feels like it's broken, like just walking on several occasions, and I can find a better help for that for people. Mm-hmm. Like, why not?
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Exactly.
So I had the opportunity to try it out. I'm going to play the video one more time. I had the video to try it out. The vibes of the hemp CBD gummy lasted about 4.5 hours.
Okay.
And the euphoria, chilled, relaxed feeling. If you're not an avid user like myself, I would probably say using probably half to doing it in quarters, because that's going to be my next thing, is I'm going to micro dose to keep my focus. If you go to the website, www.eatmetexas.com, there is testimonials. Yes. There is dosage recommendations. And that is really, really good, because I've had the edibles before that are the real stuff. And I say the real stuff because it derives from the other stuff, like the marijuana. And that doesn't have a recommendation for dosage. So this one, like, I really appreciated that it gave me a recommendation.
So I'm on the website. I'm on the website right now. Mm-hmm. And for anyone that goes on to eatmetexas.com, these gummies do come in 4 flavors. They come in lemon, green apple, peach, and the new arrival, which is the rainbow flavor, which I heard you mention before. And honestly, they all sound amazing. And to be honest with you, the one thing that stuck out to me were the testimonials, is what you were talking about earlier. Now, me myself, I do suffer from insomnia, like to a annoying level. And anything that I can take that can help me in that, I'm all for. And some of these testimonials, whether you can suffer from insomnia, you can suffer from depression,
There's a
glaucoma,
long list of stuff that it helps
inflammation,
with, man.
migraines. I suffer from
Glaucoma.
migraines as well. And honestly, just give it some research. Don't take our word for it. Do some research and honestly, just give it some thought. Like, this looks fucking amazing, dude.
Now, what's very interesting is, like I was saying, if you go below that on the website, you can see where it gives the dosage.
I'm looking at it right
Now,
now.
there have been situations where people take more than the necessary dose and do get bad anxiety attacks. But that also goes with the idea we were talking about it earlier, how edibles are a little bit harder to micromanage when it comes to how much you're consuming.
It's a different beast.
So you have to, the number one thing that I'm telling you is, guys, I don't smoke at all. Like, I don't smoke anything at all. I do CBD most of the time, but I don't smoke it. I take it by tinctures. So I don't have a tolerance for this stuff. But again, I'm like 220 something pounds. And I took one of those and it hit me the way I feel it should hit you. Where I think if someone took it that was under my weight, it might cause that anxiety attack. And you have to be very, very careful, because with that, I think you were telling me, Brian, that your trip, when you had it happen to you once, you had but you took the real stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, a very valuable lesson when dealing with any edibles, whether it's with any edibles that you take. A very valuable lesson. Just keep in mind, if you're not an avid taker of edibles, or smoking, or however you partake, just understand that when you take edibles, once it's in you, it's in you.
It's in you until you ride
can't-
it out.
You gotta, yeah. At that point, you just gotta ride the wave. You gotta ride it out. So just take it a little bit at a time. Just be careful. Yeah, that like you said off camera, the last time I took edibles, it was a very, very memorable experience.
The way you're like, it was memorable.
It was a very memorable experience, and I learned a very valuable lesson.
Valuable lesson.
Again, like you said, micromanage it, microdose it. But once it's in you, and you can't. There's nothing you can do about it except for ride the wave. So be careful.
So, like I was saying, 230 pounds. I took one of them, and it really got me like right to the edge. You have to remember. So the packages that they sell on eatmetexas.com are 10 CBD gummies with the Delta 9 variant and the THC that is from the hemp drug, the hemp stem, or whatever you want to call it. It's 100% legal to sell, but you guys need to understand that if your job drug tests you, this will pop up.
Yeah.
So like that's regular CBD also. So like that 0.03 will show up. So if you're taking things like that, you have to be aware and you have to be intelligent about it. So you can't just be like, cool, like, let me just start banging this stuff because it's legal or whatever. And then your company comes and hits you with a drug test. And yeah, you just got to be smart. But so like Jeremy put, I'm going to put this up because it's very important. Was taking CBD for a while because of an accident that I had back in this 2016. Left me with a messed up neck and my back, and I wasn't done for pills. Honestly, the only thing that really helped me for pain was smoking weed, which should be legal because of the benefits instead of it being hooked on pills. CBD is great and does wonders. I know my grandfather suffers from Alzheimer's and was taking CBD, and it helped him a bit more to be more comfortable. That's really good. I'm glad it helped. The only thing different between this and the normal CBD that they have been selling is that it gives you the same vibe as when you smoke. So that's literally it. Now, I kind of like, we were talking about it at the gym because, okay, so in the video, you'll see some of my guys doing their work, and one of my guys is right there, kind of like in the forefront, like beating up a bag on the ground. That's Raul. I gave him 4 to take home and try. This dude wanted to take all 4, and I was like, dude, don't be doing crazy shit. That's a little too much. I took 1 and I was freaking out. So he ended up taking 2, and he said he had the best sleep he's had in a long time. And that's because, like, you know, a lot for the last couple of months, he's been kind of like, you know, a little bit anxiety, or, you know, a lot of pressure from school, a lot of pressure from, you know, family, you know, a lot of pressure from just life itself. And he said it was the best relaxing thing he's had in a while. And he said it gave him a cleaner high than when he smokes. And
Yeah,
that meant a lot to me, because I was like, cool, I'm not giving my students something that, you know,
it's
is
bullshit.
going to hurt him or he's not going to like.
Yeah.
I'm giving him alternatives and something that's legal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this goes out to, of course, we were talking about it earlier, our elderly people, like Jeremy said, with his grandfather who suffers from Alzheimer's. He doesn't have to go around either getting medicinal or trying to buy it off market from some dude at Stripes that's just selling it and have to feel that he's a criminal. He can literally walk into a CBD shop, or, like I said, visit our sponsor, because they have great deals and this stuff works. I took it last night or the night before, and I'll testimonial in a heartbeat. Um, you don't have to feel like a criminal, and you can get it delivered straight to your house.
And honestly, I know that this time of year, especially this time of year, a lot of people are going through depression. A lot of people are going through a lot with the holidays that are coming up. This is a great time. This is a great product to try out to see if it can help you cope, to get through the holidays, you know, with a clear head, with some good night's sleep, with all of that stuff. So, you know, give them a look, man.
So, like I said, like I took one. I think the next time what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna knock it down to either half or a quarter, and I'm just gonna use that to get ready to go to bed. That's a lot better than me taking 12 milligram melatonin pills. You know what I mean?
Melatonin. I'm not a big fan of melatonin, but that's a different
Yeah, it
story.
leaves you too groggy, man.
Yeah,
The next morning, wake up,
the next morning, I'm not worth shit, to be honest with you.
Robert, I want to reach out to Robert. Here we go. Robert said, "Yeah, boys, suffering from that shit every fucking day, but I'm glad I'm still here talking to you guys, and we're happy you're here too, man.
Hell
we're
yeah,
extremely happy, dude. Makes me happy with wrestling and anything entertainment, Marvel, DC, because in the end of the day, I know it's gonna be okay." Exactly, brother. Exactly. You know, sometimes, you know, life just has a tendency of kicking us when we're down, but there's other people out there that probably have it worse than us, and they find ways to smile. And if they can do it, we can definitely do it. And you're not alone. You're never alone.
Hell no.
But yeah, so guys, if you can hit up our sponsor. Thank you guys so much for www.eatmetexas.com. Guys, check out their CBD stuff. Look up the testimonials. Look up their products. I have some. That's us in the videos of the video I posted up on my Facebook. We went out and cut like our little cool promo video. It's a product that I wanted to make sure I tested, because I am not going to put something up here that I do not recommend to someone if I don't at least try it first. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that to you guys. So this is something I took. I think it's okay. I think it's great. I think it needs to be respected because it's real. That's the easiest way to put it, because it's real. It's not like the CBD where it's like, oh, I could take it and I don't feel nothing. No, it's real. So just respect it. And yeah, that's it. So thank you so much to our sponsor at www.eatmetexas.com. And yeah, make sure you hit them up.
Hell yeah.
Onwards to the next one. Okay, so here we go. A very, very important thing going on right now, which is, I don't know if you guys know this, but during the last couple of hours, there's been a lot of drops for teasers and trailers and videos and pictures of a bunch of Marvel things that are just happening out of nowhere. Well, it's because right now Disney Plus is doing their upcoming shows and teaser trailers. And we're going to be talking about some of those right now on the show. Brian, are you familiar with everything that's going on with Disney Plus right now?
Yes, yes. So they had their Disney Plus, what is it called? Their Disney Plus
show?
Whatever.
Yeah, I just called it show.
Their release or whatever. Oh, and by the way, anyone that's listening, anyone that's watching, drop in your comments what you guys thought about it. I honestly liked it. I'm hopeful for the future. Even some of the lesser known shows that are coming out, I'm hyped for it. The Moon Knight trailer was awesome.
That looked good.
The first look at the She-Hulk show, I liked it. And I know that, you know, it might be a little bit of an imposing view on the Miss Marvel show, but I like that as well. I mean, I liked it as well. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. And then it even gave like a recap of all the other shows that had, and it just it all correlated, it all meshed together. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Absolutely.
You know, I was very surprised because I was aware that Disney was going to be casually dropping stuff,
Hmm.
but I was not prepared for some of the things that came out. Like the
Yeah.
teaser for the Hulk, the She-Hulk show, I wasn't
Oh
prepared
yeah.
for.
Yeah. No, that
Um,
took me by surprise too.
the Marvel trailer, I wasn't prepared for them to actually give us like footage of like things in the show. It did raise some questions though, because like you and I were talking about, we were talking about this previously before the show started. Just my opinion on like, you know, Miss Marvel and how they can implement her powers, because it's been very confusing the last couple of like maybe year when it came to Marvel and what they've done with the characters.
I'm gonna ask you to just set that aside. All right.
Yeah,
Just
we're
set
gonna
that,
put that aside for right now.
just compartmentalize that for a second. She's from Jersey City, bro.
Oh, you know, and I was gonna ask you. That was
She's
literally
from
what I was gonna ask you. I was gonna be
she's
like, "What's up,
from
bro? Like, did you see
she's
Miss
from
Marvel today?
Jersey
She's from your
City, bro.
hometown, dude."
You have to subscribe to it, bro. She's from Jersey City. You have to be a fan. I'm a fan. I don't give a fuck if
Now,
it's the worst show ever. I'm watching it. She's from
I will
20 minutes
I
from my
will
house.
tell you that I am excited to see someone of like the Muslim culture as a character in Heroes.
Absolutely.
You
Hell
know,
yeah.
we haven't had a character like that in history of comic books when it, you know, when it comes to like the mainstream comic book lines.
Hmm.
So to have a character out there that's a young teenager, rash and going out there and doing fun things, it's
Hmm.
cool. And what I'm hoping, and it's kind of casual to the way it is in the comic books, but is that it it educates people on understanding people from different religion backgrounds or different cultures. If anything, I hope that's what it does. It
I'm sure.
educates people on certain traditions that people hold like that. That would be like the movie Coco, right? Like
Love that.
when
I
everybody, yeah,
love that movie.
everybody loved it because it was a really nice introduction to a very elaborate version of Dia de los Muertos,
Hmm.
which is a holiday that's celebrated by the Hispanic cultures of Mexico, right? Or people that are connected to Mexico. Is it something that we truly believe in? I guess closer to like the Indios and people in Mexico, they probably still believe it, like as a religion, that that's what happens when you die. But of course, like Americanized Hispanic people, Catholic, you know, Baptist, Christian base, like they're kind of more into that kind of vibe when it comes to Christianity. So the bridge over and the seeing your abuelas and abuelitas like all skeletons and a dog or a spirit guardian. Yeah, we don't really believe in that too much. Not in the modern Hispanic culture as much.
Hmm.
But it's a really cool thing because different people from different cultures watch it and they're like, "Bro, this thing is super cool. Look at how festive it is. Look at the colors. Look at all the like all the mythology behind it. I didn't know that that was a part of their culture. That's super nice."
Hmm.
And like Pixar, shout out to Pixar because it's an amazing film. Super
That's my
beautiful.
that's my
You
that's
have to
my
tell me
favorite
you didn't
animated.
cry when the grandma and him are
That
singing
was
and
that honestly,
oh man.
hands down, that is my favorite animated movie of
Really? That's super
all
nice.
time. I love that fucking movie.
That's super cool, man.
I have an 8-year-old and she loves that movie, so I have seen it a million times and I watch it
It's a
whenever she's
really
not even
beautiful
around.
story. It
Yeah.
really is. It's a beautiful story. I feel like out of all the Pixar films, it's the one that has the most like digging heart like
Hmm.
vibe, especially like because everybody loves their grandparents, right? And there's that huge connection between the main kid and his grandmother and the song and it's perfectly executed. Really great execution. Really great execution. But having going back to what I said to Miss Marvel, I hope that there is a strong education there because of course the idea of people accepting different cultures around the world, especially with the idea of acceptance nowadays, I think that's that part that media needs to kind of get in grasp with again, where they're educating us through entertainment.
I don't know if it's so much if this is just my personal
Mhm.
opinion. If I were Kevin Feige and the MCU, I wouldn't care so much as teaching as I am with giving just the representation. Like if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does.
Like it's not so much I don't need to teach anybody anything. It's gonna happen because it's somebody from a different culture. So you're gonna get that automatically. But I wouldn't direct it as a learning or teaching experience as more as it is to I'm giving this group of people their own representation. Like this is somebody that you can look up to. This is somebody that you can be proud that there is a representation on a
Representation of that culture.
major on a major screen. That's where my focus would be. It wouldn't be so much to teach the other cultures about. No, you don't need it. You don't have to.
I mean, it's. I think, yeah. It. You also bring a good point to that. Like, I think if they fixate too much on it, it ends up almost feeling like it's not a show but a tool,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it kind of loses that kind of the natural vibe of storytelling.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah, I get
That's
you.
gonna happen naturally. Like that's just gonna happen naturally because you have a different culture on the screen. That's just gonna happen. Let that happen naturally.
Let it happen
You
naturally.
let it
Yeah, you're
happen
right.
naturally.
Yeah, I see. I see what you're talking about. What about all the other shows? We had, of course, the little 11-second trailer for Nick Fury's Secret Invasion,
Yeah,
which,
man. What
I
did
mean,
you
Nick
think?
Fury looks like a beast.
What did you think of the new Nick Fury look, man?
Yo, he looks tight, man. I mean,
looks fucking
Samuel
dope, right?
Jackson in anything looks badass. Yeah,
Hell
so
yeah.
I mean, that dude can touch anything, and it's amazing. He can, I don't know, redo an R. Kelly movie and make him innocent, and he'd probably be able to pull it off, dude. But he's just doing yellow showers everywhere, dude, golden showers and shit.
And you're still going. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, fucking.
You're
But no,
already
straight
here,
up,
right?
like,
You're already here.
he looked good, man. He looked good. I mean, for being a dead guy in the Marvel universe, he looked good.
Yeah,
He looked
man.
good.
He
But to
looked
see
really
him with
good.
like a gray beard and all that stuff, like, it really gives a
I
lot
liked it.
of reminiscence to. Of course, a lot of people who read comics remember that Nick Fury used to be a white guy, and he had like
Yeah.
the side. He had the what Fantastic Four white hair that I never seen anybody
The
have
silver
naturally.
gorilla. Yeah.
But yeah, that little, like, the trail of white in his beards, like in lines, kind of gives that reminiscence to their kind of like, hey, well, we can get that multiverse. We're gonna put it on his chin though, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
so it's
That was
pretty cool.
fucking
And,
that
I
was
mean,
fucking
and there's of course connections to the original Nick Fury with the Black Nick Fury, because it was a love child of a Nick Fury that he was involved with.
Mhm.
And then not only that, when they created the Ultimate Universe, which is where the idea came from originally, they wanted to make Nick Fury the baddest motherfucker on the planet. And who else to choose than the baddest motherfucker on the planet?
baddest
Yeah, you
motherfucker.
know what I mean? Like, it was good. It's good. It was the same thing when they made Wanted and they wanted to make him like a cool ass white dude and they picked Eminem.
Yeah.
You remember Wanted, the comics? Okay, so there was the movie with Angelina Jolie, right?
Yeah.
Well, that character was supposed to be Eminem.
Really?
In the comic books, he's literally Eminem. It's super nuts.
Wow.
It's super crazy, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for it, but I'm a little confused. And this is where we start getting into the confusing stuff.
Here you
So,
go. Here we
well, a
go.
little bit. And
Get
the
off
reason why I
my
say is
lawn.
because we've seen where Marvel wants to take the comic books. We saw what they did with Nick Fury,
Mhm.
and we saw what they did with Captain America. And in the comic books, we know roughly where casually we're at in the comic book realms, like where we can place the idea of where they're taking reference from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, so in the comic book, Nick Fury does go into hiding right before Secret Invasion.
On the moon, right?
Like right before that, he does do the exact same thing. But Secret Invasion, there was the group of the Illuminati, which we talked about on the show before. They threatened the Skrulls, and the Skrulls kidnapped them and took like studied them and took all their powers, which was very similar to the way that they kidnapped Captain Marvel in the Marvel movie. Remember when they had her on the ship and they had her in the thing upside down?
Yeah.
So like that. But what they do is they study the person, they take their DNA, and then they can replicate it, their powers, like, to use against other people.
Okay.
So like if they can do stretchy stuff, then the Skrull can do stretchy stuff. I believe they gave a really cool reference to this character, a Super Skrull, in the Captain Marvel movie when you had the big built one walk in. There was in that part where she's trying to escape from the ship, like a big built Skrull guy walks into the room and she's like, "Oh, okay," but she like beats his ass real quick.
Mhm.
Like, that's because she stuffed his nails, right? But the thing is when the Skrulls come to the world, they literally come to invade it because they don't have a planet to live on. So they start kind of like kidnapping heroes, capturing them and putting them in their ship, and then living their lives and taking over their bodies. So it's pretty much kind of like the way it was in the movie Captain Marvel when they introduced the scrolls, but Marvel wrote the scrolls out as being people that are looking for sanctuary, like a race of people, a race of beings that need a home and stuff like that. There's not really, unless they create a faction of scrolls that defected against that group and are trying to conquer the earth, then having a secret invasion story kind of doesn't make a lot of sense with what they did with the scrolls in the first place. You get
Well,
what I'm saying?
I hear you saying it's coming, but so all of the breakdown, so they gave glimpses of 12, actually 13 titles that are coming out.
Wow.
If you include Loki season 2, which isn't
Okay.
listed, you have X-Men 97, which I'm so pumped for.
That is
Uh,
cool. That is a really interesting. I wonder. That's all I'm gonna say right now. I'm just wonder.
they have X-Men 97.
That's bad.
They have Agatha, House of Harkness, the Agatha
Interesting.
Harkness show, Miss Marvel, which we talked about, the I Am Groot show. We have Echo. Another one that I am looking forward to is the Marvel Zombies, Moon Knight, of
Oh,
course.
that's right. That's
Moon
right.
Knight, of course. And then we also have Ironheart, Spider-Man freshman year, She-Hulk, What If season 2, and then last but not least, Secret
Invasion.
Invasions. Yes. Which one are you looking more forward to out of the lineup?
Tell you the truth, really random She-Hulk.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
really
it. I
random
love it.
She-Hulk. I think out
I
of
love
all
it.
of these, like
I love it.
that's the one. The other one that I'm kind of interested in, and it's a little weird. It
Say
would
it.
probably have to be Marvel Zombies.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
the reason why is because the comic books. We talked about it when the What If show came out.
Mm-hmm.
In the comic books, by the second omnibus, which is the big thick book, like all the comics together,
Yep.
that arc really went off the deep end and was like it got everybody lost, and a lot of people fell out of watch. It's kind of like the Injustice story, where
Mm-hmm.
like the first iteration of the arc was really good, and then they were like, "Oh shit!" Like I didn't think it was gonna be this popular. We need to continue this story, and then like they go into like the randomest, weirdest arcs after that.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Zombies suffered from the same thing. I think it got up to the point where the Silver Surfer came to the Earth. They kill the Silver Surfer. Then Galactus comes to the Earth. They eat Galactus and they take his powers, and then they can just fly through space and just eat fucking people and devour like and they just kill the entire galaxy. It's just weird as shit. Like at that point, you're kind of like, dude, you're just writing yourself into like a weird wall. Then they had like a story where it was the Army of Darkness Ash versus the Marvel Zombies. Like they
Really?
had to kind of like create crossovers and fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like fuck
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
moments for it to make sense.
Almost like
Uh,
a what if type of thing.
yeah, they kind of like turned it into stories like that. And then later on, Uatu was like, let me just put it in a Marvel, let me put it in a universe where it's just on a constant loop. It loops, it goes to a planet, it eats people, and then it just goes and does the same thing over and over again. He doesn't have it to where the Marvel Zombies thing like constantly goes through the universe.
Secret Invasions aside, because I
Okay.
think we're all looking forward to that, right? We're all looking
Yeah.
forward to Secret Invasions to a certain degree, some more than others. I'm with you. I'm on board with you. She-Hulk did look really, really good. From what the little bit that we saw. But dude, listen, Agatha, House of Harkness, that is going to be a sleeper. I promise you.
You think so? I mean, the
That is
actress is fucking amazing.
that is going to be a sleeper. Absolutely, because I have total faith in that character. They
Well,
did
the
that character.
actress, right? Because the way that she was able to like carry it and push it, and then the way that they did the whole like old school '50s vibe, and her the way she carries the character is very very well put
So
together.
Catherine Hahn is the actress that we're talking about, and I have total faith in her. I have total faith in that show. I of course Marvel Zombies. I'm interested in. Anything else? X-Men 97, without a doubt, that's going to be the one. I'm going to watch that regardless. Do you know what Echo is? I'm not
Okay,
familiar
so
with that.
that's an interesting one because if I'm not mistaken, I believe she's a mutant, but
Okay.
she's like the stepdaughter of the Kingpin.
Okay.
And she ends up, if I'm not mistaken either, she ends up later on becoming the Phoenix.
No shit.
So like she plays a lot of stuff, but yeah, she's like a love interest to like a Daredevil. Like she was like in the younger generation, like the recently generation. So like I'm not really like up about it.
Do you think that we'll get some type of
Like
like
mutants.
no, no. Do you think that we'll get any like reference to that since you said that she's a stepdaughter of Kingpin and Daredevil, knowing that Kingpin and Daredevil were linked to the Hawkeye show, do you think that we'll see Echo
Well,
in the
yeah,
Hawkeye
actually,
show?
Echo's in Hawkeye.
Okay. All
She's
right.
gonna be a member of that show because she is I think if I'm not mistaken, she's one of the people that's chasing Hawkeye in that storyline.
Okay.
So she's supposed to actually make her debut in Hawkeye, but then the popularity and I guess Kevin Feige, when he found out that of what type of character she is, they were like, yo, make her own show too.
Yeah.
Which I like because this is one of those things that it's really amazing that Marvel does not have any slowing down of content. But my biggest concern is there a situation, because right now there's a big discussion of what is it? Not anxiety, but like a fatigue, Marvel fatigue or comic hero fatigue. I don't really believe in that shit. I think it's stupid
Neither
as
do
fuck for
I.
people to like give it like a disease or some shit. They need to give it some medical condition for them to feel validated in life that they're doing some important shit. No, it's not fucking fatigue. If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's it. Like, don't be a bitch. Like, but like, there is this part of me that's like just kind of right now. And I think
So,
that vibe came from like the Spider-Man, the way they're advertising for Spider-Man.
all right, we'll, and I want to argue this with
Yeah.
you about that. I do, but before we even just get off of that, Oscar Isaac,
Ooh, the Moon Knight trailer?
yeah,
God
let's get
damn,
to it.
that looked good.
What do you think that he's gonna pull this off?
Okay, so first off, yes and no.
How do you feel about Oscar Isaac before?
Oscar Isaac's amazing, dude.
I love him.
The guy,
as
he's
an
fucking
actor.
good. Anything he touches, I mean, fucking Dune,
Gold.
he was
Yeah.
good. Poe Dameron, he was
Yeah.
good. Like he everything the guy touches, he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a talented actor. He takes it very well. My biggest thing with him, the thing that sold me on him for the rest of his life, is that they asked him what other franchise he would be interested in doing, and he said Metal Gear Solid. He was like, I love to be Metal Gear Solid. I love to be Metal Gear. And the fucking the interviewer guy was like, oh, Metal Gear Solid, that's cool. Who would you want to play? And he was like Snake. Who else would I want to play?
Of course. Like, who the fuck
And
else
I
would
was like, this
play?
fucker knows. He knows Metal Gear. He knows the importance of Snake, and he knows the character. He's not looking at saying like, oh, because it's a franchise I heard they're filming and I want to be in. No, he knows. He knows. He's a nerd. Yeah. He's straight up a nerd. And that ever since then, I'm on board with Oscar Isaac, whatever he does, dude.
Okay, and now your
the R.
Moon
Kelly
Knight
movie. If he wants to do R. Kelly, I'm about it too, man. Sure.
I
don't even know why it's R. Kelly today, dude.
No, it's R. Kelly Day, but yeah,
it's R. Kelly Day.
So your reaction to the Moon Knight teaser?
It was good, and I think they're doing a lot of pull and a lot of production from the Daredevil show, because there's that scene where he's like just beating over the fucking guy, like, or someone.
Yeah,
and
dude.
I got a lot of Daredevil's the hallway scene. So I'm expecting that really grungy vibe. But then there's that scene where they took from like the Frank Miller Batman where he jumps across the moon and he's doing the fucking thing. And I was just like, Marvel's not fucking around, dude. Like, they're not fucking around. And this is just a TV show. It's not even a movie. Like, it's a streaming series. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's great material that they're coming up with. Like, it's a bunch of weird shorts. I just hope it's not like a 30-minute episode thing. Like, what if? I hope they're long fucking 45-minute episodes, or I just hope they're good. I hope they're giving enough. I like the little scrawny, nerdy voice he chose to play himself when he's not Moon Knight.
When he's talking.
And then he's going to have like that Batman grunge voice when he gets to that level. Like, it's impressive. And then just the idea of knowing like Moon Knight, schizophrenics, like seeing someone like do this character that has so many different layers. As an actor, he's going to fucking love that shit. He's going to love that role. So, yeah, I'm excited. Moon Knight is probably the other movie that I'm most excited for.
So,
I know we talked about Kamala Khan. Not too crazy about that. I wasn't really sold on the video game, The Avengers. I feel like the problem with these characters right now is that we're catching up to the comic books that weren't really done right because they never stretched them out enough. But like I've said before in the past, hopefully the films can really like expand on the character and really do a lot of character development. So that's what I'm hoping for. Am I saying that it's garbage and complete trash? No, I'll probably end up watching it, and I may end up walking away a big fan of Miss Marvel. Like I just might. Like I don't know. Like it was like a what if. I read What If as a kid, and I was really excited. But by the third episode, you remember, I was real like, this thing's fucking weird. Like I was just like, I don't know what to expect anymore. I mean, Loki's fun and all, but I wasn't really like all up on him. But once they made the show, I was like, dude,
the show was pretty good.
I was really a big fan of Loki. Like they really did it.
All right, listen. It's enough. We ran through all of Marvel. All right. Okay. Marvel, that's cool. We did the Marvel thing. Let's get to the big fish. What did you think of the Obi-Wan Kenobi teaser?
Okay, so first, I'm gonna be one of the people, I said it before on the show a million times. Star Wars is our shit. Like, if there's anything I want them to expand on, is Star Wars. And to know that when they created the Rebels show and they gave us a finale of right before when Obi-Wan met Luke as a teenager and went on the adventure and fought Darth Vader and died. And they brought us back to that Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi scene in the desert.
Oh yeah.
I was literally like goosebumps and tears because Darth Maul deserved more than the prequels had.
Yeah, I think we'll see him again, obviously, but yeah, we'll see. And
then for them to be able to come in and do what they did with Darth Maul's character in the Rebels cartoon, impressed the fuck out of me, dude. Like, and then with Boba Fett and the Mandalorians and in the Clone Wars, like the cartoons, like straight gangster shit. Like that is like a necessity. If you haven't seen, I mean, look at Ahsoka Tano. Look at how exciting it was to see her make her live action debut in the Mandalorian, knowing that character was created in the Clone Wars cartoon on Disney Channel. Like it was impressive. But to know that now we got a revive of Obi-Wan when the 17 years of Luke Skywalker becoming a young man, we get that vibe to see what Obi-Wan did, and knowing that Hayden Christensen is coming back on the scene. That we know for sure that Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are going to throw hands one more time.
I need that. I need that round.
And what's even crazier than that is we have to remember the lure of Star Wars. No one's ever gotten away from Darth Vader. He's a Terminator in the Star Wars universe. He is the Terminator. He keeps going. If someone escapes, he keeps going. But Obi-Wan stopped him once. Because right now we know they met, and Obi-Wan commits, like, Seppuku has to die and become part of the Force as an old man. But Darth Vader was not looking for him anymore. And we know that he's coming out in this. So they met somewhere before. And that means there's a possibility that Obi-Wan beat his ass. There's a huge possibility that we're going to get a fucking kink in the Matrix, and we're going to see Darth Vader get put on his knees.
I love the fact that every time from what we know now until the rest of the end of time, if we ever see Obi-Wan and Darth Vader meet, they're throwing hands.
There's no
talk. There's not gonna be any talking involved. Maybe a little bit, but they're getting it in. Yeah, they're getting it in.
Dude, I'm excited as hell for Obi-Wan.
They're getting it in.
I wasn't as excited before when I was like, oh, they're bringing, Ewan McGregor back. Cool. He's going to be in the desert. He goes a little senile. He becomes a little crazy. It's when they said that they're bringing Hayden Christensen back that I was like, dude. Fuck, dude, this is it, dude. Like this, we're going to get it. We're either going to get the moment where Darth Vader is standing on a hill above him.
Yeah, that's coming. I mean? That's coming. That's coming, dude. That's
what I mean? Like there's little or
it's gonna be the same situation where it's going to be Obi-Wan on the hill, but this time Darth Vader, he's not got
fucking with it. He's like, I'm not going up there because I learned.
He's got a couple tricks.
You're coming down here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's impressive, and we know we're gonna get callbacks to like everything, dude. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, there'll be a possibility of him telling Obi-Wan that Anakin is dead. Only Darth Vader remains. Like the way he told Luke Skywalker, right? We're gonna get. We may even get like the Vestige realm of like Darth Vader, like kicking it in his meditation state where he's like half dark and half Anakin. Like we might be able to get that because that came out prominently in the comic book where he was still battling with the idea that there were parts of him that the parts that didn't burn off and were animatronic, that those parts were still Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And they were still like a part of the light side. It was very, very weird, but such an interesting way to put it that that's what kept him like half and half. That little piece of humanity is what kept him there. And then, of course, like the realization that Ahsoka's still alive somewhere, that she may come out in the show. You know, there's the idea, of course, there was the cool callback to when Luke was coming of age, who trained him. I'm really hoping that the Ahsoka Tano show brings that, because there was a big theory that after Yoda dies and becomes part of the Force, that Luke then reaches out to Ahsoka Tano to teach him, because she's the last living older Jedi master. And since she was trained by Anakin, she was the closest person to teach Luke on how to beat him, all his secret moves. It's so impressive to think that that's the way they could go. The other thing that I'm hoping, super random, Star Killer.
Okay.
Star Killer from Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really hoping in either Obi-Wan or Ahsoka Tano's TV show. Why? Because Star Killer, of course, defects against Darth Vader in the second game, or in the first game too. Like at the very end, because Darth Vader chooses to kill him and clone him.
Yeah.
So that's almost similar to the way it was with Ahsoka Tano. So if some reason Ahsoka Tano meets up with Star Killer, and that's why she becomes a master of the dual blade like he is, like that could be the reference to why she carries two blades, because she's actually partially trained by Star Killer.
Interesting.
Which would be nuts, dude. Like that.
Interesting.
Hey, dude, look at this right here. Look at Eels. I didn't know Chris Plus had so much Star Wars knowledge. I'm proud to call this guy my friend. You
well, listen,
know, bro.
Listen. Now that we are on Star Wars and we are piquing our listeners' interest, this isn't the only Star Wars news out there.
Yep. Absolutely correct, man. What's the next part?
So, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but we do know that there is somebody that Kevin Feige is trying to land as the director of his Star Wars movie.
Yep.
Do you know who that is, Chris?
I believe we're looking at Chloe Zahu, which is the new director of the Eternals movie.
Absolutely. So just off of the first hear of that, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I have to base this on, of course, what we were talking about when it came to the Eternals show. Like the Eternals movie by itself was a really hard movie for someone to come in and make, right? Because it's got like very little to no real solid reference in the Marvel universe. And this chick, like Chloe, did not shy away from using direct DC universe fucking Easter eggs. Which again, this is like the way it was with the Infinity Stones in the What If series going into the multiverses, right? Those were writing corners that they have written themselves out years ago in the comic books. So they screwed up somewhere and they were like, fuck, dude, we really wrote ourselves into a corner. What do we do? Well, we need to make a rule. And they made a rule. Oh, these don't work in multiverses, so don't try it. So then boom, we don't have to ever return to that. It's written in stone somewhere in the Marvel universe. So that's the thing too. Like you never reference Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, or anything like that because it's written there. Because if not, you have a lot of shit you got to answer for. And I'm not saying like legally you got to answer for it. No, you have fans that are like, wait a minute.
What the fuck?
Do they sell comics or are those people in the Marvel universe? Then is DC just in another city and they just don't, and you can't have that.
Confusion.
You cannot have that, dude. You just can't.
Confusion. Yeah.
So the aspect is do we think after, and that's because you got to see the Eternals, so you got a better idea of what Chloe Zhao can do. Do we think that she is capable of creating a Star Wars movie?
Is she capable? Yes.
Yes,
Should
I
she?
100%.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
And you have literally the two guys that have the blueprint to make this shit work.
Yeah, they were already doing fantastic, dude.
So you have Dave Filoni and you have what was the other guy's name?
Favreau.
And John Favreau.
John Favreau.
If I were anyone that was associated with Star Wars, I would just hand them everything. Why not just hand them everything? Here, take it. Take it.
Yeah, with what they did with the Mandalorian, like you can't go wrong. That formula was perfect.
Create your own universe. Create your own fucking Star Wars universe. I don't give a fuck. You can't do anything worse than what we've done for the past fucking 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. You know, and as a matter of fact, like you look at what they did with like you can even consider Rogue One, 7, 8, and 9, and Solo.
I actually like
compare those to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like they don't even come close. None of those 5 movies come close to what they did in the Mandalorian.
I actually like Rogue One though.
It wasn't too bad.
It
wasn't too bad. But I'm not gonna lie, for me being such a big fan of Star Wars, I fell asleep right in the middle of the film. Like right before she goes.
Edgar appreciates it, bro.
I know, I understand. Like I understand there's a lot of people, but I fell asleep. There was something that caused me to fall asleep to the biggest franchise that I would die on. And then not only that, again, they had a really good opportunity with Donnie Yen's character to make him something of like an offset Jedi, like kind of like the way that they did that little Yoda lady in the other 7, 8, 9, where she was just casually connected to the Force. She wasn't a religious fanatic of it like the Jedi, but she understood it. Yeah. This guy, Donnie Yen's character, they really had the opportunity to stretch that out. And those characters, they died in such an awkward way that you're kind of like, you wanted more. But that's the other part is the dad's name is the actual name of Starkiller. So they can't go back to using the original name of the guy that they cloned to make Starkiller now because they used him as the dad's name. So like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that they were like, well, we're not going to use this. We'll just throw it in here, which is what Marvel does sometimes when it comes to their writing, which is like World War Hulk. We're left confused right now because all of the points that got us to that beautiful masterpiece of a story that's the comic book, they used in a bunch of different franchise movies, Thor, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War. They took a bunch of the little parts and spread them out to where now you don't have the opportunity to bring in a coherent World War Hulk storyline. Now they're going to have to throw it in and it may fall completely flat because the masterpiece they created in the comics is so much more amazing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it truly is a masterful storytelling of the Hulk. Like that's why I'm really worried about it.
I don't think I'm as concerned as you are. And again, I have to look at it from my perspective. I'm not as involved, but you have to understand that there was we kind of know that the Hulk was on
Sakaar.
He was on Sakaar for a while before we even found out that he was there. So that
would be the next thing, right? Which is, well, maybe the World War Hulk story is there, right? The Planet Hulk, right? But they can't because the Grandmaster isn't the Red King, and he's not a tyrant. You know what I mean? Like the Red King was a literally the movie Gladiator with the Hulk as the main character, where the king was like a major piece of shit to the people.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And there was like a religious prophecy that there was going to be this coming of the green Sicarian that was gonna like free everyone. And then there was a giant monster in the Gladiator arena that he gets like the eye of, and that makes him like a hero to the people. So there's like a lot of like little parts, like even the concept of them using Beta Ray Bill. Like there are iterations where it's like it's either the Silver Surfer that he's fighting or Thor or Beta Ray Bill that he's fighting instead of the Hulk fighting Thor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in that story, the Hulk is the hero. Like he just frees Beta Ray Bill and Beta Ray Bill takes off, or he frees Silver Surfer and then he bounces out. Like, and they just leave the Hulk there because he's like, the Earth isn't my home anymore. Because I think it's like in that Doctor Strange moment where he's like in space with Thor, and he really doesn't want to go back to Earth. In the World War Hulk story, the reason why they have that is because he's kicked off the planet. He finds life there and he wants to be by himself.
Mhm.
So when he frees the Silver Surfer, and in the cartoon when he frees Beta Ray Bill, they're like, Hulk, Bruce, if you want to go home, hitch a ride. I can take you. That's not a problem. And he's like, the Earth isn't my home.
Fuck
Those aren't
that.
my
Yeah.
friends anymore. Like he
Yeah.
denounces them.
Yeah.
And that's also a big point to the story part. You feel it. You feel that feeling from Bruce Banner and the Hulk together. Even in the very beginning when Bruce Banner is like, dude, I can't survive on this planet. And the Hulk's like, well, you're going to have to hitch a ride, dude, and just trust me that I'm going to take care of both of us.
Mm.
And Banner literally just lets him take the wheel. Where in this movie, in the Ragnarok, they made it to where like Bruce like didn't even know the Hulk was in charge.
Watch your mouth.
Why? Why?
I like Ragnarok.
No, Ragnarok's good. I have
that's
nothing
my
against
movie,
Ragnarok. It was
bro.
the best movie for Thor. They saved the Thor franchise with it.
They definitely
They
did.
literally- 'cause
That
Thor
is
2 was really bad.
1000% an accurate statement. Yeah,
So for them, even with that, having having the opportunity to put Chris Helmsworth's humor as his priority and his big thing, that was a major steal for them. Because now putting him in Guardians of the Galaxy is a win. Because him and Chris Pratt together
they
are
could
gonna
print money.
kill
Print,
it, dude.
print
They're
money.
gonna print cash.
You could
Just
print the
that
money
one
with that.
opportunity to see Chris Pratt and Chris Helmsworth in that one scene in Infinity War and Endgame.
Mhm.
It was the best it was the best like buddy cop movie I had ever seen in my whole life.
Let me ask you a question. Is Dave Bautista like still signed to the MCU? Is he still signed?
So he is, but he doesn't want to be in it because James Gunn's last movie is going to be this one. So he's kind of like, cool. Well, when James Gunn's out, I'm out. I'm
done.
like, cool, bro. Fucking don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Like, originally Marvel didn't even want to have him.
Mm.
And you know what? Like, I'm not a fan of his Drax, but then again, it's very easy to play a character like Drax when you can't act. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a big role because every other role you see Batista in, if he's not typecasted as the big brute, like single word kind of guy, if you give him lines, you're kind of like, oh, this guy's bad. Like when he's trying to play the little nerdy guy in Blade Runner, like until he gets to the action part, you're kind of like, oh, I hope they kill this fucking guy, dude. Like, this is really bad. But yeah, that's why, like, you know, it's nothing against him, and it's nothing against anybody that's like that. It's just, it's hard to be an actor, especially athletes coming from an acting career. Like The Rock, it's like I've said before, like The Rock is great, but we're anticipating the moment to see him kick ass.
And it took him some time. It took him some time. He went through The Rock to be.
Oh, dude, yeah.
He went through a slew
you can't tell me
of
that
bad
when you
movies
watch The Rock in the film that you don't wait for the rock bottom or the people's elbow. Like you don't wait to see that because you want to see that little like tip of the hat to being him a wrestler. But then again, that's like Doom when he's laying on the ground and he's about to die and get crushed. And he's like, I'm not supposed to die. And he's speaking that in the sense of the fourth wall break that he's supposed to be the hero in the film because he's The Rock. And I don't like that kind of storytelling because The Rock feels it now where he gets typecasted and he wants to be respected as an actor. And I could feel that Dave Bautista's in the same boat. But him hanging on to someone like James Gunn, who comes from that weird trope of toxic Avengers and sex and chicks with boobs out and, you know, the Evil Dead movies where naked chicks are running around being killed by zombies and eaten, but they're like topless. Like there is a very weird connection to him and James Gunn that I don't really care for. And like the stuff with James Gunn, like it was very dicey when he got let go from Marvel. You know what I mean? It was very dicey because of course they were jokes from his past. But yeah, I did stand-up comedy for 5 years almost.
That shit wasn't funny.
And if someone was joking about fucking kids, I would still think it was weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's just certain jokes that we just don't find comfortable.
I just think that, you know, Dave Bautista has a loyalty that it's a blind loyalty. And honestly, I don't really care for him, to be honest with you. Like I didn't care for him as a wrestler, to be honest with you. And the only real movie besides any of the Guardian movies that I enjoyed him in, well, two. I liked him in Blade Runner, and then I also liked him in The Man with the Iron Fist with RZA.
Oh yeah, that movie was just like that was RZA creating the Ninja Scroll movie. But then again, he could not mess up that part. The CG was cool as fuck to see a dude turn to metal and shit. See the Iron Tiger, I think that was his name.
Yeah.
It was so fucking cool. Like, yeah, like, but that's straight up Ninja Scroll, the movie. But let me ask you something. Knowing the history of Dave Bautista before he was an actor, and then he came out and was like, fuck the WWE, like they didn't pay me shit. I was eating out of my car, blah 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 blah. Like he was shitting on the company.
Yeah.
Like, but that he was a well-respected wrestler, so he was probably being paid well. Like, how did that make you feel knowing that he was talking about the WWE Federation in that sense, even though that he was a celebrity at that time in the WWE world?
I have a very indeed D Vargas, my co-host on the Jim Majors podcast.
Shout out to D.
He knows that I have a very love-hate relationship when it comes to the WWE. Kayfabe it died a long time ago. And the veils have come down, and day by day you get to learn the behind the scenes moves and contract negotiations and just the fuckery that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's just a business. You see the business stuff and it fucking makes it horrible.
Yeah, it's just the business aspect of it. And so I don't ever condemn a wrestler for speaking out against the company if they have a gripe. If they're disgruntled, 9 times out of 10, they probably deserve to be disgruntled. I can go down a whole list of wrestlers that have been let go either recently or in the past that have said bad things about the WWE, and I agree with them. So I don't fault him for that. But when
he was released or left the WWE
and then went back.
Yeah, but he was let go before all the crazy shit happened. Like he was there during a prominent time in WD, which was when The Rock was there. And they took care of their wrestlers at that time in the sense of like making sure everybody was financially stable at least. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like athletes right now, like in the UFC, you got people that are like, dude, I have to have a second job. It sucks. But you look at their thing and they're getting paid 6 figures in a contract. And it's like, wait a minute, where the fuck is your money going? Like, is it because you're driving a Bugatti? Or are you comparing the money you're making to not being like NBA money? Which then the conversation changes like, well, maybe we're paying the NBA too fucking much and their shit needs to go down. Like we need to get athletes to their level. We don't need to be paying people billions of dollars to do that shit. We need to bring their fucking money down because they're getting overpaid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100%.
It's a very interesting conversation in that sense. But the thing is what caught me when he was talking about it is he badmouthed the WWE in a time when I know that they were taking care of wrestlers that were prominent. And if I'm not mistaken, Batista at the time was pretty prominent in the wrestling world. Like he was a big name. If not, he was like the second or third under The Rock during that time. And then to talk shit about it and then to go back. Like you know what I mean? Like it's very weird. Like it takes that idea of like,
that's the reason why, like I say, I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's a really fucking weird industry to be in, and just to see what it makes people do, what it makes people say, and honestly, I gave up on it. I'm be totally honest with you. Like I don't watch this much. I don't watch it as much as I used to, and I just don't. Because of shit like this, it's the same shit.
I get you. Yeah, it's with the Dave Bautista thing. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the next movie is going to be his last. But it's not a bad thing for the franchise because there's still Drax's daughter that they haven't introduced, which could be a member. She's a member of the Guardians. They are introducing what's his face? Adam Warlock.
He's coming.
And Adam Warlock's mentality or his personality is like this much different from Drax.
Okay.
He talks like a Greek god, like all the time. I don't know if you've been watching like any gameplays of the Guardians video game that just released.
I've seen very little.
Dude, there is a lot of good reference to the Marvel universe in it. Not in the sense of like they're referencing the universe itself, the cinematics, but like when you're playing the first iteration of the game, I think one of the first bosses is a Dweller in the Dark, and that was the villain in Shang-Chi.
How does the gameplay look?
It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. The villains in the game, like some of the bad guys, like the normies, are like they look like Minecraft villains. It's very corny. It's cheesy. Some of
Okay.
the stuff is a little cheesy, but the visuals of the game look fucking fantastic, dude.
To me, in my age, that's all that matters. I
Yeah,
don't I
like
don't really I don't even really care too much about the story anymore. As long as the gameplay is cool,
as
dude,
long as the gameplay's fun.
I'm fine.
Now
I'm
the way
fine.
it is it's a single player, if I'm not mistaken, and you can control every character of the game by giving them commands.
Okay.
So that's not too bad. But like I said, what's really cool is they do give honor to a lot of like the behind the scenes characters.
Okay.
So like what's cool, the major villain of Shang-Chi comes out as a normal villain, like a mid boss in this one.
In this game.
So I
Okay.
think what's cool about that is it gives players and the people that watch the cinematic users a better idea of what like the dweller in the dark is, that he's not necessarily a god of the underworld, but
Hmm.
he's like a space Cthulhu creature. Like
Okay.
it kind of reiterates because then from there they bring in like Fing Fang Foom,
Hmm.
which is like this giant dragon dude that comes out as like, but he's a monster in the Marvel universe. And in this one, he's like the reigning king of like a dark dimension, and like a chick that's kind of like a built ogre, looks like loves him or whatever. Like
Okay.
it's really weird. But then you have Adam Warlock come out. And
No
Adam
shit.
Warlock is like solid gold. His hair's like long and gold, like Zeus. He's like a built Greek god. And then like
Oh shit.
the evil version of himself from the future is there, Magus.
Magus.
And
Okay.
then it kind of starts to break down like what is Magus, you know.
We're
And then,
getting Magus, dude.
yeah,
I'm
dude,
telling you,
and Magus is
we're
a
getting
really
him in the
hard
MCU.
character to kind of talk about.
No, but we're getting him in the MCU. I
Oh,
promise. We're
definitely.
getting
Yeah,
him.
yeah. We'll definitely get him. Like, I think so. But I mean, it's a good question. Like, is Drax going to be a continuing character? Like, is Dave Bautista going to stay in? I just really don't think so. I really don't. I think after this movie, I think he'll go with James Gunn. But then with
And
the
do what?
with DC,
Listen,
you got to
if
remember they
if
picked up
they
James Gunn for Suicide Squad.
everyone talks shit when it's okay for them to. If they throw enough money at Dave Bautista, he's not going anywhere. He's gonna say piece of James Gunn, and he's gonna fucking stay.
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, and this is just like on a whim of things I've heard, is that Kevin Feige really doesn't care for Drax in the first place.
I mean, I can see that. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that.
But
I
I'm
can
not
see
gonna say that Drax has not been a fucking great ride in the Marvel universe. He's been a fun fucking ride.
that.
Like the way Dave Bautista's pulled it off, the writing for his character, it's fantastic. You know, for what it's worth, like he's done a good job for bringing Drax to life. I mean, I couldn't see Drax in any other way. So shout out to that dude. Shout out to Dave Bautista. But do we need him? I don't think so. Like right now, I think we can get away with replacing some characters in certain aspects. And we're about to switch out all the Avengers team, and we have before in the past. The Guardians is about to get it because they've been in space doing their thing. And then of course, like Sylvester Stallone and his group of people from the original Guardians, like they're
Yeah.
still out there too.
I think it was telling that Dave Bautista wasn't in the What If episode with Drax. I think that was very telling.
That he wasn't in it, right?
He wasn't. Yeah, he
Yeah.
wasn't.
Well, that's the thing. David Soboleff is the voice of Drax in the cartoon. The
Mhm.
guy I interviewed. So the guy that plays Gorilla Grodd is actually the guy. You know what? That's a good call for Gus. He says he could play Bane. I could see that. I could see that.
Are you not tired of Bane already? I think.
I'm tired of Batman. I'm fucking tired of
I
Batman.
think. I think. I think. I think Tom Hardy was it for me. I don't need to see because
I mean, he did already so well.
I'm baned out. Yeah, like that was like I don't know if it gets any better than that.
Yeah,
I'm
there
baned
really
out.
isn't anything left for the Bane character after that, except that he just does drugs and he's a Hulk.
I used to love Bane when I was like back in the day. I was, and don't take my Marvel card away from me, but I used to be a huge DC fan back in the day.
Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, he's
I was
the
huge
Hulk.
DC
He's the
fan.
smash guy.
But Bane,
There's no
Bane,
real
Bane.
story writing to him.
Yeah, I mean, even though there wasn't any like a lot of story writing to him,
He was
when
fun.
he broke Batman's back, dude, like
Oh
that
yeah, man.
was it for me, dude. I was like, holy shit, like yeah, dude,
Yep.
that was my
And
shit.
that's the story that they covered in the Bane story in the Christopher Nolan universe. Like that was already like a part of it.
Yeah,
So like they had already covered the broken Batman storyline. You know what I mean? So like there's not much left, you know what I mean, in the sense of what they can pull for resource. I mean, they'll make something up if it even goes to that direction.
true.
But as a matter of fact, how do you feel about the news that there's a bigger implement that Henry Cavill's going to be Captain Britain?
I think I'm Henry Cavilled out too, dude.
You feel it?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know,
I
man.
I
I'm
think
kind
I'm
of
over
a.
it.
I mean, Henry Cavill's a good guy.
For me, with him, it's either Superman or bust, or give me
Yeah. Well, I
something else.
mean,
I don't want
he
to see
plays
him.
an
I don't want.
amazing Superman
Yeah, I don't want to see him in any other comic book,
film.
movie, film, TV show, unless it's Superman. If it's not
It's kind
that,
of like Chris Evans, right? Like you don't want to see him come back as the Human Torch.
yeah,
That
like
would kind of like ruin
yeah,
all
I
his
don't,
hard work of
yeah.
being Captain America.
You now see you put him in the Mission Impossible movie. I
Yeah,
fucking
because it's
loved
not
him.
connected. Yeah,
I
it's not
fucking
connected.
loved him in the fucking movie. I can watch him do shit like that all day. But
Well,
if
you
you
know
want
what?
to,
It's very weird that you say that because Henry Cavill has actually said that he's not done with Superman,
great.
but but he's actually really excited for the opportunity to play Captain Britain.
He's definitely coming back as Superman. His agent or his manager is The Rock's ex-wife.
Yeah,
So, and The Rock is playing
yeah, he's playing
Black
Shazam.
Adam. He's playing
Yeah,
Black
or
Adam.
Black Adam. Yeah,
He's definitely coming back. There's no way you're telling me
it
that
would really
he's
be a
done.
missed opportunity if you didn't have The Rock and Henry Cavill looking all built and shit in the movie, dude.
He's definitely coming back. He's definitely coming back as Superman.
I
I
mean,
don't book it.
it would be a dumb move for them to switch him out because Henry Cavill has done such an amazing job as
Okay.
Clark Kent and Superman.
So then this leads me to the question I asked. I feel like I ask this almost every fucking week when we're talking about DC. So then what are we doing with the Snyderverse then? So then we never really left the Snyderverse then.
I kind of feel like the Flash movie is going to fix everything
Okay.
because
All
I don't know if you heard either, but the kid that plays Druig in the Eternals
right.
is being apparently he's going to be the Joker in the Robert Patterson comic movies. So that's already another red flag because we have so many Jokers now. Jared Leto, now Joaquin Phoenix, now this guy.
Restore the Ares verse, bro.
Yeah, and then the Restore the Ares first picture that they just released with the chubby Joker. Yeah, that was funny. But like it's one of those things, like I feel like DC is grabbing at what they can to make money and they need to slow down. And they need to really just kind of be like, hey, you know what? Like we need to be definitive because even though we're making all of this stuff and we're making a multiverse and it's cool, like it's going to be a very confusing time when we have multiple Batman movies coming out and they're not the same Batman.
They're in panic mode.
I think that's what it is. I really think that's what it is.
They're in panic mode. And then it doesn't help the fact that every idea they have, it seems as though Marvel catches wind of it and beats them to the punch.
DC runs it and their Marvel runs with it.
Yeah, and they beat them to the punch and actually do it better.
And that's going to bring me to my next conversation and our next part of the conversation. Knowing that that Marvel has a tendency to not steal, but take ideas from DC.
No, they steal.
Yeah, they straight steal.
they straight.
You finally had the opportunity to watch Eternals.
I did.
Yeah, man. How did you think about it? Tell me, because we got to watch it a couple of days. We talked about it non-spoilerish on the last one, and we did you a solid. And you even told us in the fucking in the comments that you were like, dude, no one told me about this thing. What the fuck? And we were like, dude, we don't want to spoil it for you. You're like, no, fuck, dude, I need to know these things.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll talk about that too. But overall, what did you think, man? Like, especially being like someone who casually knows the Eternals, like not really like big on it. Like right now in the comic books, I'll give a shout out to it. They're doing a Thanos Eternals run that they're running it back and they're going to be deep diving into the Eternals more. Cool on that. But how do you feel about your iteration of being able to watch the Eternals and your overall feel of it, man?
Honestly, I think the fact that I don't know much about the Eternals was helpful with me watching.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Had I known anything about them, I probably wouldn't have liked the movie. But the fact that it is so different, and I kept hearing that like it's different. It's not your normal cookie cutter Marvel movie. I kept hearing it, and you hear it, but you never really actually feel it until you watch it. And yeah, you can tell that this was only with subtle references was this connected to the MCU. To be honest with you,
yeah.
I enjoyed it. I was kind of skeptical, and the reason why it took me so long is because I was basing it off of the critics and the reactions, and I was like, oh, I could probably wait to watch it. I'm actually upset I didn't watch it earlier. I actually enjoyed this movie.
I think overall the movie is a fun watch.
Yeah,
Like I think it's cool. Does
it's
it
not the
really
best, it's not the worst, but
see? That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, but does it really do for
it.
the amount of time that we're going between Marvel movies into the future projects and things like that? Is it really giving us the appetite of what we're supposed to expect in the future?
So I think this movie, and I think this is smart because this is what I actually thought about this as I was watching the movie. This is the and later in the movie it hit me. I was like, this is the type of movie, this is the type of MCU movie that you think isn't connected, but it's probably connected as fuck to a degree that we can't even understand yet. To be honest with you, like I think there's gonna be some implications later on, where and with the information release that Selma Hayek is signed on to a multi-movie deal with
Mhm.
the MCU, so she's coming back. So I just think that this movie is a setup, but like a backdoor setup. Like it's not like a flat out setup to things that are to come. But I think that it's going to have implications later on down the line.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. Now, do you feel that the Eternals, like their explanation of them being on Earth and the storytelling stuff, like, do you feel like it was all enough, or were you still left a little confused?
I wasn't really happy with the storytelling itself. Um, I think that it could have been written better, but I mean, for what it was, for a mid-level Marvel movie, it was fine. I didn't mind the reason why they were there. It still was kind of murky to me, still kind of like unclear to a certain degree, but I mean, it was good enough for me.
Do you feel like there were some parts of the movie that were a little too much?
Um, no. I think for what it was fine. Were there any parts that you thought were too, like, what do you mean by too much? Like,
For me, what was too much was when Agris, the or whatever the fucking big celestial, the accuser is, like pulls that girl Cersei like right out of the park,
okay.
and
Oh
like
yeah, you did
everyone
mention
saw
that.
that
Yeah,
shit. Yeah,
you
and
did mention
everyone
that.
saw that shit.
See,
These
still
people
things
just
like
had
that.
Thanos whip the fuck out of everybody in New York City, dude. Like
Yeah, see, things like that don't bother me. Like, you gotta. I take things with a grain of salt, if you will. Like,
that's a
I
big
that
ass grain of salt, though,
yeah,
man.
that is
That's,
that is
that literally, like the earth, the sky opened up, a big ass face that you could probably see from the whole
see.
northern hemisphere. It's just pulled one little female out of a park and left her boyfriend just hanging out by himself. And people were still casually just walking, listening to their headphones and chill out in the park. I was like, these people are not phased, dude. I
Well,
would
they
have shit
just
myself,
you.
dude. Like
Well, I'm from the mind frame that they just went through some traumatic shit already. Like
they're
they
just so like they're just so like just catered
they're
to just fucking
numb.
random shit happening.
Yeah, they're numb now. They've been seeing some wild shit for the last 10 years, and they're used to it. So again, that's why my brain just didn't even factor in the fact that they could have saw that as something odd in the world that they're living in right now. They're used to that shit by now.
So talking spoilers, I'm gonna go ahead and put the banner up for talking the
Sweet.
Eternals. I haven't even clicked on it. So I know we have about 20, 30 minutes left of the show, right?
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
how do you feel on how they used Icarus in the film at the very end? Was that lackluster because of the fact that they had the deviants there and they didn't even use them except for like 5 seconds of the last fight scene?
I think the more the bigger atrocity is the use of the deviants in the movie.
Okay.
I
You feel like it
think
was too rushed? Like it was
it
their
was
Doomsday in the Man of Steel movie?
yeah, I think
Or it could
all
have
of
been a whole
the
movie on its own.
yeah, all of the characters in this movie I think were rushed to a certain degree. There was just really no major story building. And I guess I see where the reference where it came with the
What's up, John?
who was the first guy that did the Justice League
Which
movie?
one?
The first one, not the Snyder Cut.
You're talking about Joss Whedon?
Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
So there were correlations between this movie and the Josh Whedon Justice League movie, because there just was you're introducing so many characters and so many things that there's no way within, how long was this movie? 2.5 hours?
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
It's 2 hours and 37 minutes. There's no way that you're able to tell everything you need to
That
tell.
much.
So everything is gonna seem rushed. Everything
What was it, like 11 characters? Right?
Yeah, way too many. And you're trying to introduce new characters. You're trying to introduce a brand new storyline that nobody fucking even knows about, and then make you care about these people.
Yeah,
that's tough. That's tough, and that's what Josh Whedon was kind of faced with, and it took Snyder 8 hours to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like this movie, you gotta like, when I say you have to take it with a grain of salt, is you have to keep all of this in the back of your mind. So me knowing what I knew going into the movie, I was able to look at it with a different lens than people that weren't aware beforehand. So it was a little bit different for me. But was Icarus used? I think he was used fine. I don't like the fact that
I feel like he was a real big throwaway character at the end.
He was. I was gonna say that. I just don't like the fact that he is supposedly like the OP. You would think he's the OP character,
yeah,
but he really didn't do much for me.
Yeah, it's very weird because again, we were talking about this last week and we didn't want to kind of spoil it for you, but we were telling you like, who do you think the main leader of the group is? And you were like, well, this is my thing. And then you end up finding out like we ended up saying, of course, it's Salma Hayek, right? Like she's pushed as the main character of the Eternals, but then she ends up dying like almost like a third into the movie, and you're still left with 2/3 of the movie, which is pretty big to have the main leader of the group die.
Gone. Yeah.
And then there's like this weird, like, well, who's going to be the leader? Of course, you have 8 characters that like you can practically tell they're like, nope, not me. And then you have Cersei, who kind of is like this casual. She's super OP to be this person that can literally change matter, like into whatever she wants. But then you have Icarus, who can like punch things and shoot lasers from his eyes, and he's kind of like the gravitating character you go to be the dude who leads the team. And even everyone in the team is like, well, we go to you, man. Like you're confident. Everyone else is just casual, like, but Icarus is confident. But to know that it only took him from I guess whenever he woke back up from the machine or being brought back to life or being in his iteration to now for him to kind of like casually revolt against the rest of the group because he's kind of tired of not knowing what his role is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I felt real like, well, that's weird.
I think there's a story there. I think that there's a story there. They
it's just not
didn't
fleshed
tell
out
it.
enough.
Yeah, they just didn't tell it right. There's a story there. It just wasn't told right.
And then for him to know that he like flew into the sun, like at the end, like he just took off and flew into the sun. Like, okay, so now I know he's gonna wake up in the machine, and he's gonna be free, and he's gonna be the person that's gonna have to go and free his friends.
Yeah.
So the ones that are alive that remember this and have this history because they were just taken by Ansem or Armsum, the accuser or the judge or whatever, to space or wherever he takes them, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna show up and he's gonna be like, hey guys, I'm here to help. And they're gonna be like, hey, fuck you, bro. Like you screwed us up the last time. Like, fucking get away from us. There's gonna be some turmoil. You know what I mean? And it kind of makes you wonder if he'll have his memories. But then you have your Sprite story where she's like, oh, well, I was in love with Icarus. And then she's like stabbing people, and then they're like, well, we can make you human. Well, why didn't you fucking do that before? Like, she's like, yeah, why did you keep her as a 12-year-old? Like, if she's an immortal, like, that's easy to comprehend the idea. Like, after watching an interview with a vampire, that being a child as an immortal, like, that sucks. You can't even buy beer. Like, great, you know what I mean?
Great movie, by the way.
So
let's get to it. Let's get to it. And fuck you. Fuck everybody. Fuck you. Fuck Trigger.
Why?
Because you guys kept it for me. The one thing.
Well, I mean, we wanted to make sure that you got the surprise, though, man.
That blew my fucking mind. There it is.
So we're talking about it. Jeremy put it up. Thank you, Jeremy. So there is a scene where we do get the what's his face? I don't even know. Kate Harington's character comes out, and we get the black blade, the ebony blade. And he's about to grab it because he's the Black Knight, which is
why you gotta be black.
Why you gotta be black? Why does it gotta be so hard? Why does it have to be?
Why does Sword gotta be? Yeah, why does it gotta
Why
be
is
an
death
ebony
gotta be
blade?
my
Why
fucking
gotta be
my
an ebony
release and
blade,
shit?
bro?
Why is death gotta be my release and written in Latin all over that box? God damn it! Yeah, the black blade is very interesting because when you get the black blade, it's cursed. It makes you a hero, but the more people you kill, the more bloodlust you get. And eventually it drives you mad and you turn into the Black Knight, which is like the King Arthur Black Knight, like the Red Baron of the King Arthur story.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very interesting when they use it. So it's very cool to see that Kate Harington's going to come out because you're getting like a lot of these new psychological, like cursed characters in the Marvel universe. You got Moon Knight and now you got Black Knight.
Yeah.
But interesting thing is what happens when he grabs the blade, a voice comes out. And it's what's the guy's name?
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali, right? The guy who's going to be playing Blade in the Marvel universe, the new Blade. Now, it's a very interesting subject because there's not a lot of times where Black Knight and Blade meet up and they go and throw hands and get some shit going on.
Yeah.
But why do you think that's going to happen?
Honestly, I have no fucking idea. I did not correlate the two ever. So I have no idea. I think
I literally think it's because they're going to create the Midnight Suns.
Well, yeah, I think that but what does Kit Harington have to do with the Midnight Suns or Blade?
Magic and Dracula, UK. Magic? Yeah, well, magic. Well, it's a different type of magic because you have to remember that with the Black Blade comes like Merlin. And during that time of King Arthur, he was the Sorcerer Supreme in the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
So like that already correlates you to being in some way being like with Doctor Strange. And then you have Blade who deals with vampires and Dracula. And Dracula is a real character in the Marvel Universe. And he's a motherfucker too. Like that dude's like, he throws hands with everybody and he whips them, man. He whips them into shape. Like I ain't even kidding how strong Dracula is in the comic books. But you have the Midnight Suns, and that's where I think they're going to ride with this, which will be cool because we're going to get a dark iteration of the Avengers dealing with like vampires.
Yeah.
Which correlates with the idea of maybe it ends up being that's how they initiate the Marvel Zombies story in the MCU. You know what I mean? It could. It being that you have zombies or vampires, you could have zombies right next to it, the ghouls or whatever. So you're going to get your crazy situations where you'll have like an undead version of Captain America. I mean, Dracula once got Wolverine. He got Jubilee. There was a time where Jubilee, the X-Men character, was a vampire.
Yeah.
And, Wolverine had to go and save her ass. And, there's a bunch of times right now in the comic books, Captain America is working with Dracula, like in some part of the future generations of the comic book.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like it's super crazy, man. Like there's a dark age right now in the comic books right now that they're going through.
I'm going to say this right now. Listen, I don't care what the MCU does from here until the time I'm about to say. You guys, they can bomb every TV show, every movie from here to Blade.
Just don't mess up Blade.
Just don't fuck up Blade.
Let me ask you something. Okay, so this goes off of you being a Black American. How old are you right now?
38.
38. Knowing that you do have a really good history of comic books, you do have an understanding of comic books. The characters of Black Panther and Blade, if you were going to put something like, and I'm not talking about Chadwick Boseman because we all love Chadwick Boseman. But if you were going to correlate the idea of which movie is most important to you, which one do you think would be most important to you?
Ooh, you
get me, right?
No, I get it.
Because the idea is like, of course, like it goes off of the background of like, okay, proper representation. Got it. We understand that. We've talked that conversation. But now we have the idea of ranking comic book characters and understanding the relatability of the character by their trials and tribulations, not by the characters that they're perceived by. This is the psychology part.
That's a great question because Blade, what's the Wesley Snipes Blade movies, to be specific?
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Were the shit for me.
They were fucking awesome.
They were the shit for me. Probably could have done without Ryan Reynolds, but
they did find Deadpool through that part.
But they
Like if
did
it wasn't
find
for him
they did
playing
find
himself
Deadpool.
and coming out, they would have never had Deadpool. Like if it wasn't for Wesley Snipes' Blade, we would have never had Deadpool. And we
That's
all love Deadpool.
1000%. But that was my personal opinion on that franchise. And if you go back and watch those movies, they still kind of hold up.
They
Like
fucking hold up.
they
They
still kind of
still
hold up.
fucking hold
They
up.
still kind of hold up.
The rave
I wanna,
scene is still one of
yeah,
the most amazing scenes in movie history for
but
me.
yeah, hell yeah,
Just the part where the
hell
guy's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what? Like,
yeah.
and he's all covered in blood and the chick
But
smiles. Like you remember that. It's not
yes,
even a horror movie, but it was good.
absolutely.
And Wesley
But
Snipes, his action, his
he
attitude,
was
his
great. He was
confidence, the way he
great.
carries himself as an actor, like he
Absolutely.
brought the character to life more than the comic book or the cartoon could ever.
Absolutely.
So
But in saying that, Black Panther was a movement. That was a movement. Like that was bigger than me and my personal views on Blade. Like that's bigger than me. That was an event. That was like grandmothers and great grandmothers were going out to watch this fucking movie, dude. Like if you ask me which one is a bigger representation or a better I guess cultural
okay.
pull, it's got to be Black Panther. Which movie do I care for more? Probably Blade.
Okay. That makes sense.
Speaking of which, that's funny that
Oh,
you
here we
bring it
go. We
up
got some stuff.
because I have posters I'm going to be putting up. I don't know. Yeah, and look,
Oh yeah, boy.
so it's
That's a
like,
good poster.
so
I
yeah,
love that poster.
I love this poster. Like this is one
That's
of
a
the best
great
posters.
poster.
It's my
Damn,
best
that's a good
poster.
poster.
But yeah, so like I don't never want to go against Black Panther because I love that fucking movie. I watched that movie endless amount of times. I think I've seen it 3 times in the movie theater. I went 3 times in the movie
Good
theater to
stuff.
watch that movie. But yeah, but if you were to ask me which one would I rather at this point sit down and just enjoy and watching, it's I guess it might change on any given day, but I'll probably say Blade. I love the Blade series.
Now, with that being said, are you excited for the idea of getting a new age, technologically advanced variation of filmmaking to make the Blade story come back?
As long as
Because
they don't fuck
remember,
it
like
up.
when they made the Blade movie, it
They
was
was
very close to
Dark
like the
Ages.
Fantastic
It was
Four.
the Dark Ages.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
the
like
Dark
Tobey
Ages.
Maguire, Spider-Man, like it was
Spawn. It was a Spawn era.
Spawn,
Yes.
yeah, Spawn and all
It
that
was a
shit. Like,
Spawn
yeah,
era.
dude, like there was a technology and filmmaking was still kind of being developed, but now with the technologies we have nowadays, do you feel like it's gonna be like
It has to be because if not, then there's no excuse, right? It has to be because if Wesley Snipes could do that without it, then you guys should be able to do it with it. If that
nice?
makes any sense. So yeah. So then if you can't do it with all the technology the technical advances that we have now, then there's no excuses. And that's the reason why I put so much um
Faith,
pressure, yeah, or
yeah,
just pressure on them to make it good because you guys don't have any excuses now.
yeah, pretty
Wesley
much.
Snipes, that Wesley Snipes version of Blade is the bar. It's the
And
bar.
the guy that's playing Blade this time around, when we saw him in the Luke Cage
Luke
series,
Cage, great,
he did an amazing job.
great.
He did an amazing job as
Him as
Cottonmouth. No,
Cottonmouth. It was
Cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth.
Ever?
Him
Yeah,
as
he was Cottonmouth,
Cottonmouth
and he did
was fucking
fantastic as
great.
like that mafioso, like gangster, like
You
street dude.
cannot name one bad Marshall. I cannot never say it. Marsh
It's a hard name, but it's good.
Mr. Ali.
Yeah, Mashali Ali, right?
You cannot name one movie that's bad that he's in.
Yeah,
So it's
he's a
like
fantastic actor.
he's the right guy. It's the right character. He'll be all right.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I want to ask you, and it actually comes from John. John asks, so do you think Morbius will be connected to Blade?
Well,
And do we
he has
want
to
that?
be. No, yeah. I mean, he has to be right because he's connected to him in the comics.
Yeah, he's
So
a major telling. So do you want that vibe of seeing Blade on a bike going up on a building chasing Morpheus like from the cartoon Spider-Man?
hell yeah, and I want Morbius to bite him. Like I want all that shit. Like I want I as long as they do it right, I'll take as much. As long as you do it right, I'll take all the fucking blue that you want because there's two characters in the MCU that are coming that I'm looking forward to more than anything else. And it's Blade and it's Ghost Rider. Those are the two that I'm
Which
looking forward
iteration of Ghost Rider?
to.
You have your
I
Johnny
like the Johnny
Blaze.
Blaze. I like the old school Johnny Blaze.
I know that there was a
Um,
guy after Johnny Blaze. Ghost Rider.
and there's the one that's the from the TV show or the show from.
I know that there was a black guy that played Blade. It was the second one. It was Robbie Reyes is the third. And the second one, he had like a sports bike.
I don't know.
And he used to have like a black coat with like a big ass collar. I know that there was another one that was called Vengeance also. So I know that there was another. Let me see this real quick. Characters. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, but yeah, I'm really excited, man. For Ghost Rider.
No, I was gonna say, those are the two, and those are the two characters as a kid that I was excited about. Like I was excited about Blade. I was excited, like Ghost Rider was always I just always had a vision of when I thought of Marvel, for some reason, Ghost Rider is one of the first people that came to mind when I thought about Marvel. It used to be like Wolverine and then Ghost Rider right after him. So it was like I'm excited to see Ghost Rider in the MCU, dude.
It would be badass, fantastic if they're able to bring him out and they do him right, dude.
Yeah,
because of course, like with the iteration that's been going on recently with the Robbie Reyes, Gabriel Luna played him very, very well in Agents of Shield. And shout outs to that dude. I had the opportunity to interview him, and so did D. I think D interviewed him also, right?
I think so too.
Yeah, like super fantastic individual. Really respected the character. Really loves the character. Like he really is like passionate about that character. And I mean, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, to bring in the Ghost Rider, but how do you feel about thinking that it might end up being Keanu Reeves?
Are you kidding me? I love fucking Keanu Reeves, dude. Bring him.
Yeah.
Fuck
yeah,
it.
There's an opportunity that they spoke to Keanu Reeves a while back, and that he was asked about playing a character, and a lot of people were associating him with what is it, Johnny Blaze.
Bro, you're telling me that you're gonna get Neo and John Wick
Good way to put it, yeah.
to be fucking Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm in.
It sounds
I'm in.
fucking wild as hell, but yeah,
Neo and John Wick is going to be fucking Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it would be cool.
I'm in.
Yeah, I can't. I was trying to find this character for you, and I really can't find it. I know there's been about 3 Ghost Riders overall, but I'll have to find them for you later and send it your way. But
so,
yeah, man, I mean, I can see Ghost Rider being a major character in the Marvel universe.
So just to get Rob's question in here, I know, and this actually, I wanted to talk about it earlier. What is your deal with the Spider-Man thing, bro? Like you're over it, right?
Oh, because of what I was saying, right?
You're over Spider-Man. How can you be over
Spider-Man? Right now he says, I don't know, we don't have time, but the Spider-Man stuff coming out this week was crazy. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
The poster,
the trailer coming. I know Rob's actually excited because he was talking about that we were hopefully going to get a trailer. I'm kind of just desensitized to it all with the way that it's going off this last couple of weeks, like how everybody's like, oh, dude, look, there's green light in the background means Green Goblin and Lizard's going to be there. And, oh, here's the 28 Spider-Man that are going to appear. And then with us, we're trying to speculate.
So with the poster, even with the speculation, with the poster that came out, we didn't get a trailer. We thought we were going to get a trailer, but we didn't get one. But with the poster that came out, we have 5 confirmed of the Sinister Six.
Okay.
So
for the Sinister Six, we got 5 characters right now.
Yeah. So if you look at the poster, it's Green Goblin, it's Electro, is Sandman. Mm-hmm. It was Doc Ock. And there was somebody else that was referenced on that poster.
It's gotta be Lizard or something like that, right?
Yeah. So who do you think is going to be the 6th?
Venom. Like I'm still stuck on it being Venom. The reason why is because that's the only problem right now that Sony has with the Marvel universe is that they can't get Tom Hardy in it, and they fucking wrote themselves into a corner in the first film.
Mm.
And of
I,
course, you can't have Venom without Spider-Man.
sure.
You know what I mean? You just can't. So I know it's gonna be a little weird because usually it would be like Rhino or Scorpion, or
Hmm.
like it would be one of those characters that would be the other official member, or even like
I think,
Craven.
yeah,
But
I can
Craven, I don't
see.
think he'll come out until Morbius. Like
I
I
can
think
see
Rob already said that's
Scorpion.
about.
I can see Scorpion, being that he's already
He's been talked
somewhat,
about.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
somewhat involved. Yeah, he's somewhat already there in the MCU. I can see Scorpion, but yeah, I think it's gonna be Venom. I think Venom is gonna come and he'll end up being like an anti-hero type of thing.
Oh, there was Vulture
Oh, Vulture
also.
too,
But the
Vulture.
Vulture, we already have the Hobgoblin on wings. So we already got an air guy.
Yo, can we talk about how much fucking Michael Keaton is working right now,
Hey
dude?
man, he's amazing, dude. I'm happy
He's
he's
fucking
working.
working, isn't
Yeah,
he?
I'm
That
happy he's
motherfucker
working.
is
He
working,
likes
bro.
these
I
movies, dude. He
like that
likes doing
shit.
superhero movies.
Hell yeah,
So,
bro.
so I'm
Fuck yeah.
excited. Like I said before, I'm excited to see him in the Flash. But yeah, they haven't really mentioned like Scorpion or any of these characters or Craven really. And I know that there was an opportunity that they were going to push for a Craven film.
Mhm.
Why? I don't fucking know. But yeah, Craven, sure. Why not, Sony?
I
Um,
know that Oscar Isaac was up for the Craven role at first.
really?
Yeah, he
That's
was. He
weird as
was.
fuck. I wouldn't
He
see him.
went
I'd see like a Jason Momoa or
maybe.
like, you know what I mean? Like maybe like a big, kind of like a Henry Cavill size guy,
Yeah,
but like a Australian guy maybe or something like,
yeah.
it's got to be something Hunter esque.
Oscar Isaac did audition for the Craven. I think he ended up getting the Moon Knight instead. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad. Like I'm glad they picked him up from Moon Knight. He just doesn't have the body size for a Craven, in my
mm,
opinion. Just my opinion.
true.
Um, but yeah, I really think that the sixth character is going to be Venom. Venom really teased it at the end of the thing that they're somewhere where Tom Hardy is or Tom Holland is.
Hmm.
And the only way that's going to happen is if he's in the Marvel universe. I don't think that that's just an iffy thing that they just brought him in just a huevo, like just for no reason. I really think he's going to be that, but he's going to be like the anti six. But what's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
drive him,
yeah.
yeah, what's going to drive him nuts is the carnage that's going to be in his body.
Oh,
So I think that the carnage, him absorbing him, is going to kind of like make him go crazy, out of control, and Brock's not going to be in charge.
true.
So,
One of
so I
these
think I think
days,
that's what it's gonna. I
one of these
dude,
days,
I really think
maybe
Miles Morales, dude.
you
I
just won't
really
let
think
it
Miles
go.
Morales, like
Yo,
every day it comes to like.
you're gonna be so crushed if he doesn't show up in this movie. I hope that he's in this movie for your sake. I hope so.
I really do. No, I'm not gonna be too crushed, but like, yeah, there's just a part of me that's kind of like, all right, cool, like, but I'm really getting like tired of like the hype game that surrounds all of these movies now. Because like right now we have all of these Disney Plus shows that are coming out. You have like a million speculations, a bunch of people on Photoshop, people putting red circles around things that we apparently missed in the trailer that we
Yeah.
have to watch a video about. Uh, you know, 38 Tom Hollands, 22 Jamie Franco's. Like yeah,
So wait, so
and
you would say that you're getting desensitized to everything
yeah, it's
that's
just
happening?
like we're talking about it how Rob's talking about how he's excited for a trailer to come out, and I'm kind of like, just release the movie already. Like someone's gonna ruin it before that. Like you
So
know
I
what I
was
mean?
gonna say that earlier when I was talking to you guys in the chat about the spoilers. I'm like, dude, I wanted to say it in the chat, but I left it be. But I get shit spoiled on to me on a daily basis.
Yeah, like it just
So
ruins the whole
it
opportunity
doesn't
by the
even
time I
really
get to watch it.
I'm desensitized when it comes to spoilers. Before I used to like try to hide from spoilers. Now I was like, dude, it's gonna you're there's no way you can tell me that you're gonna release the Eternals a week and a half
And no one's gonna
before
talk shit about it.
and no one's gonna say anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, people want
You
that
know?
clout, man. They want to
So
be
it's
the
like
first one to
there's
release that
nothing
shit.
what am I gonna do? Stay off of social media for a week and a half because
Yeah, I'm not gonna do
I
that
don't want
for
to
a
ruin that.
film. Like I got family and people that I care about that I want to check up on social media and stuff.
So it's
I
like
got people I
what
need
are
to
you gonna do?
stalk.
So it's just like there's nothing you could do. I get shit spoiled on a daily basis.
I guess that's my biggest thing, right? Is that we've given so much opportunity to people online to do that it ruins the moment for
Experience.
us. Yeah, it ruins it. Like before, like literally, like I would say, like a day or two before a movie comes out, there's a huge leak online that someone's like,
And you
"Yo,
know
check
the
this
whole
out."
you know everything that's
Yeah,
gonna happen. Yeah.
and you're kind of like, "Oh fuck, I shouldn't have read that." Oh, and then you got people that come out and they're like, "Yo, PSA." don't get on social media today because people are ruining the movie. And I'm like, dude, why the fuck am I going to stay off social media because Spider-Man, uses the toilet? I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not important for me to not be online. That just ruins my whole day. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. There's just something about it right now that I feel like I used to be super excited about these, like, goosebumps moment.
Yeah.
Like, and just right now, especially right now with the Spider-Man thing, like, I hope he dies in this movie. Like, I'm fucking so damn tired of it, dude. Like, it sounds like a dick ass thing to say, but jeez, man, please just get rid of him for a bit. Like, give us a break, man. Like, let us do normal things, man.
Yo, do you understand? You're getting what you want is Spider-Man to go away, but in this movie, you're getting three fucking. You're getting
Yeah,
three. You're getting more. You're getting more
we're getting 2 extra ones, and I just want one of them to stop, man. Yeah, it's you know what, but like yeah, I'm excited for the film. Like, I want to see it because, of course, the storytelling of what's going on is important. And this right now happens to be the only thing Sony can do right. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's almost like Sony is like the DC universe. Like, we're hoping that Sony just gets it right.
Yeah.
Yes, they're connected to Marvel. Yes, they have Kevin Feige. Yes, they have producers and writers and stuff, but they still fuck up.
But they can still fuck it up.
Yeah, they fuck up a lot.
Fuck it up.
Yeah, they did it with Carnage. They did it with Venom, and we just want them to do it right. And if they're going to introduce Venom, just get it right. Don't take Spider-Man down with you and then take Doctor Strange down and ruin, like, it almost like a cancer.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of moves into the Marvel universe and starts ruining things. And don't let Marvel crutch itself to make Sony work. You know what I mean? Don't let it be where, like, Marvel has to change their stories so that it correlates to what Sony's writing.
If there's one thing I know,
if they do that, they'll fuck everything up.
If there's one thing I know about Kevin Feige, he ain't doing that shit.
Yeah.
He ain't doing that.
So wait, and let me ask. Okay, so that's funny because Robert put, he's gonna go away, Chris. He's going to college soon. Is that what freshman year's about?
That's a cartoon. That's an animated show, so I don't know what that's about.
Okay.
Like, I don't know exactly what that is. That's going to be an animated Spider-Man. Which, to be honest with you, I don't know why you guys not. Well, I guess Disney kind of needs one because, I mean, as far as I know, Sony has the best animated version of Spider-Man.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That shit, that shit ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So you guys could try your best, but that's just going to
I'm excited for part 2 of that film.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'll be excited when they start, but I just hope they don't pull some stupid advertisement like right now. Can you imagine if they were doing the advertisement like they're doing right now with No Way Home, but for the Spider-Verse too?
Spider-Verse.
Can you imagine how annoying that shit would be when they'd be like, well, here's a picture. Oh, here's some text messages from the actors talking to each other. Here's a maybe photo of what could happen.
No, but they have though. If you, I mean, and you know what's funny is that when you bring that up, we have gotten like not a trailer, but like a teaser for the snippets of the second Into the Spider-Verse almost a year ago. I want to say about a year ago.
But I thought those were just like they were just like what is it? Like casual drawings of what they're kind of anticipating, like just like a. Like
I think they came up with like a logo
storyboard or something.
And then in the logo they gave different versions of the spider.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I do remember that.
So I remember going on YouTube and watching people break down
every Spider-Man,
all the Spider-Man they're going to be in this fucking all that shit. And that was about a year ago.
With that, in this movie of No Way Home, we know the multiverse is there. What's the Spider-Man you want to see? What's one that you hope that they just casually like
added a 3 or
like, oh shit, they're Spider-Punk. What the fuck? Like casual, like he's just going through the multiverse trying to find his way back home. And he's going through like different real quick ones. Cause that's how I talked about them bringing in Miles real quick and Morlun, where he's going to be going through portals to different multiverses. Yeah. And he's going to come through one and Miles is going to be fighting Morlun and he's going to be like Peter. And he's going to be like, and he's like, Miles, maybe we'll talk about this later or something. Like he's going to just be going through it.
Yeah.
And he's and you're going to see some really fun shit.
I'm actually
Spider-Man you could see.
Oh man.
Mine's that Japanese Spider-Man. The stupid one, the one that's like a Kamen Rider. The one that's like, "Wait, and he has like a mech and he fucking like has a bike and like his spider webs are real dumb. Like it's just super bad Power Ranger Spider-Man. That's
You
the one
know,
that I hope I see.
you know who my favorite Spider-Man was?
Who?
2099.
Yo, dude, that's good. O'Hara.
Yeah, that was my favorite Spider-Man. Like that suit.
Oh, it's
There's
legit.
no better Spider-Man suit.
Yeah, that's
I
like
will
Batman
I will
Beyond version of
argue
Spider-Man suit.
I will argue any version of a Spider-Man suit is better than a 2099 suit.
I wouldn't mind seeing Spider-Punk.
Spider-Punk.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Spider-Punk. That's a cool
Spider-Punk's
character.
with the jean jacket,
The
right?
yeah, the
And the
fucking
spikes
the
and the
Rebels jacket
spikes.
and shit, the
Yeah,
UK one. Yeah, I
yeah,
wouldn't mind seeing
yeah.
him. He'd be pretty legit. He'd be pretty legit.
That's
But
what's cool about the Spider-Man game. I love that game.
yeah,
Like
there's
that
so many cool
Spider-Man,
costumes.
yo, that Spider-Man game is the fucking
Yeah,
shit.
they even have the cape one, the one with the cape. They even have like the comic book. Oh, you know what? They even have the glitchy Miles
A
Morales one.
glitchy. Oh, do
Yeah,
they?
that is so cool. Like the one that's like, yeah, dude,
Mhm.
that is so cool. That is legit. Yeah, but straight up, I think the coolest Spider-Man, in my opinion, it sounds silly, but the Japanese Power Ranger version of Spider-Man.
Mm,
He had like a car, the Spider Mobile. Like it was really lame, but it
yeah.
was so good because it's Japan and they're always good at what they do. And their art was so cool though. I think it'd be cool. So I'm really excited. Not too crazy about all the advertisement stuff, but of course I'm gonna watch the shit out of that movie when it comes out.
Hell
But
yeah.
man, I'm really glad that you got to see the Eternal. I'm really glad that you like it. So real quick, going back to that rating on a 10. Oh, the Amazing Bagman, that would be cool too. The Scarlet Spider.
Scarlet Spider, yeah,
Yeah,
Scarlet
dude,
Spider is
that would be
cool.
really legit. Scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the Eternals, and where do you see it going next in the franchise? Real quick.
I see it. I give it maybe like a 6, maybe a 7.
Okay.
I give it about a 6, maybe a 7, because I was able to watch it without expecting too much.
Mhm.
So that was good. And where do I see it going forward? Again, I think it may be a little bit too early to tell. I think that with the post-credit scene, um it's gonna there's no way you can watch that movie and then see the post-credit scene and think that that's
That's
not
it,
gonna
right?
lead, yeah, that's gonna lead to just nothing. This is gonna have some bigger implications, and I'm talking about like big implications moving forward, and I just think we have to wait and see.
So I really think, and this is just theory, I really think the next like parts of the Eternals that we're going to be seeing is probably with a mixture of the Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mm,
and then it'll introduce Adam Warlock being like a descendant of the Eternals since he's like a godly character
yeah.
and he's like an Eternal himself. He's like one of those kind of people, right?
But he was made, but in the MCU,
Yeah, he was created by
he was
people that
created. Yeah, he was created.
they
So
come from a culture that's very like they have like this religion in space. It's a really weird like it's a weird storyline.
I
But
tried
the thing
looking them up,
is,
and they're like the most obscure
yeah, characters.
race in
Mhm.
the MCU history, bro.
Yeah. It's a very like that's why I'm saying like it's very, very awkward. But we know for sure that Adam Warlock was the main character that fought against Thanos in Infinity War, right?
Yep.
He was like, and it was like a chess game. But what if instead of it being that they're going to use him as a Thanos villain or a character to fight Thanos, they use Adam Warlock to be a person who fights the Celestials?
Oh shit.
And because the Celestials make almost like a Pantheon, but like almost like a court in space, like a trial in space.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And what if that's the thing? What if they have to outsmart them and they use all of these characters coming together to be like the Infinity War, the Infinity Gauntlet, but it
Mhm.
has to deal with like maybe like Magus, like
Oof.
working with the Celestials. I don't think it would be Kang because Kang isn't really a celestial villain in the space
Yeah.
realm. He's
He's
more like
human.
of an Earth
Yeah, he's
villain.
human. Yeah.
Yeah, like an Earth villain, like an Avengers villain. But I could see that being a thing where it's going to build up to be where, because Adam Warlock is like the Jesus of the Marvel universe in space.
Hmm.
So he has to get to that level where you see him put the soul stone in his forehead like Vision. He becomes the master of the soul gem. He
Hmm.
becomes the watcher of the gems. And yeah, there's a whole like biblical prophecy to the way this is supposed to go. But he has to fight a formidable villain And who else than the Celestials that have just been introduced that are in
Galactus.
charge of the Eternals, right?
Galactus.
Well, Galactus is also a Celestial. He's like one of those big guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can see that. And he's actually there in the trial. Galactus is there in the trial too. So because it brings in the Infinity,
I think
all of these different.
I think that we've heard so much about Galactus over the past 2 years that we're getting him, and I think that might be where we see Adam Warlock head towards Galactus.
That'd be cool because then we get Silver Surfer,
and we get Silver.
The lacking thing would be that we wouldn't have the Fantastic Four, and that's like one of their first major missions, which would be cool too. But then you never know. Maybe that's what
maybe we do.
Yeah. We did get that nice teaser for the Fantastic Four at the last Marvel thing that they had. Remember where they released a picture? So we know that they're
coming.
They're coming. We know that it's closer than what it was before.
Yeah.
So good. Guys, what did you think of the Eternals? If you've seen it, was it something that you were super excited for? Was it something that you really dug? What did you think of all the Disney Plus teaser trailers? What was your favorite one? Scale them all 1 to 10, whichever one is your favorite. We're excited. I'm excited for She-Hulk and Moon Knight. Those are the ones that really caught my eye. What do you feel about Chloe Zahu being the new director of a Star Wars film after she directed the Eternals? Do you think that it's something that she's capable of? Do you feel it's something that Star Wars needs to do, or do they need to kick back and follow in the blueprint that they did with The Mandalorian? Guys, we want to thank you so much. Again, thank you to our sponsor, eatmetexas.com. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. We have some great things in the pipe coming. Guys, don't forget to check out Gym Class Majors. That's Brian's other podcast with D. Vargas. Great show. Make sure to go check it out. Guys, if there's anything you want us to cover, hit us up. John asked one more question in the comment section. Do you think Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Punisher and Iron Fist will appear in the MCU? I think we've almost got it confirmed right now that Charlie Cox, Daredevil, will be in Spider-Man. I think it's already pretty much almost for certain that he's going to be the lawyer defending him. And if that's the case and he's there, all of those
bets are off. Yeah, at that point,
the only thing that I'm kind of worried about, not too much, is the Danny Rand character of Iron Fist. I think the actor I don't
think he comes in. Punisher.
He didn't want to train.
Who plays the Punisher again? The guy from Walking Dead. What's the guy's name?
John Bernthal.
Yeah, he's definitely coming back.
He has to come back.
He's definitely coming back.
He has to come back. I want to see him in like a Blade or even man, dude, it'd be so good. There's so much, dude. So much. But in the comic books right now, they just substituted Danny Rand. He's not the Iron Fist anymore. They chose an Asian guy.
Oh, shit.
So they have now an Asian guy playing the Iron Fist, which is what they wanted to be, because they didn't want that whole a white man doing an Asian thing. But now we have a different typecast where it's an Asian guy who knows Kung Fu, or at least some kind of iteration. So is it a double-edged sword? So I want to have that conversation maybe next week. If not, guys, again, what did you think of the Eternals? What are you excited for in the MCU? Hit us up. Let us know what you got going on. Tell us about anything that you're doing right now in the sense of video games. Warzone, Vanguard, Battlefield 2042 comes out next week. Are you excited for it? Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We hope to see you next week. Thank you for joining us every Friday here on the Average Boys Podcast. To all our extraordinary listeners, thank you so much. We'll see you guys again next Friday. Laters.
Peace.